to Holloway in the corner. Oscar gets it off the wall. What a pass. Folk shoots. Score! Here's a shot deflected down and on. Oh, and it's off the pad of Hofer. Right after we're talking about it, and it goes in. Kick save by Hofer. The Blues poke it up to the line. Not out. Blue Jackets with the pressure. Werenski fires, shoots, and scores. Off the back of the shot. The net, it goes to the post. The butt of Hofer and right in, Joe. And it's 3-1. The Blue Jackets eat it there. And the losing streak goes to 7 for the St. Louis.
The message after the game was, we're building it the right way right now. We keep playing, we're going to get on a roll. Because good things are coming from the way we're playing.
Yeah, that's right. Good things are coming, baby.
I'm not applauding.
You
that.
can feel it.
Nothing like A for effort. A for
I can
effort.
feel it coming in the air tonight.
I can't stop. Hold on. God, I can't stop. I love that song. Oh, man.
Bum, 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 bum. Can you feel? Alex, I don't feel it. In no way, shape, or form
And we're
do
the
I
three
feel it.
best friends that anyone
7 consecutive?
Oh, man. Well, at least the good news is you can compare it to the last time that they did that. That was the 22-23 season,
Yeah, that
right,
went
guys?
well, right?
Woo! We got Dvorsky in that draft.
With Alex and T-Bone
yeah.
and DK. That's what
I
it
think
sounded
he's
like
good.
on
I'm going to
Saturday.
Nashville again, T-Bone.
As the Blues.
I thought it was decentralized.
Blues
It is.
in Columbus by a final of 3-2. You told me that you lose close first, and then you start to win close.
Yeah, you
and then
yelled
you
at
win
me
big.
about it on Friday.
I mean, this loss against Columbus actually pissed me off more than the loss against Vancouver.
Well, sure, you didn't get a point in this one. You did against Vancouver.
No, that's not it. It pissed me off because you're doing the bunny hop now. Like, I get what they're saying where you feel like you made progress. Did you, though? Because, yeah, you tightened up defensively in that game. You didn't give up a lot of high-danger chances. I think you gave up 5 in the first and then 3 the rest of the hockey game. But the bunny hop, which everybody knows that wonderful dance, it's hip, it's groovy. You take 1 step forward and then you hop backwards 3 times. How did your offense go from 39 shots against Vancouver feeling like, hot damn, this offense is feeling it, to going a total of 18 minutes and 4 seconds with 1 shot on goal?
I know the answer.
1 shot on goal.
Because this is what they do. What do
Oh,
you
and I
mean,
know the
how do
answer.
they
I know
do
the
that?
answer. Because Vancouver didn't have half their team and isn't a very good hockey team. Meanwhile, Columbus is.
Yeah. Yeah. But, I mean,
and we're not.
No, but
They did have 39 shots
that's
on goal.
but that's the part that bothers me. Because what happened in that game in the third period, I wrote this down. So they finished the third period with 18 shots on goal. Of those 18 shots, 16 of them came after Columbus made it 3-1. They had 1 shot on goal from the start of the period in the third when they were trailing by a goal up until Monahan scored at 5:07 on the power play. You can't go 1 shot on goal in a 1-goal hockey game and then all of a sudden rattle off 16. That's a team that's not waking up right away. So to me, that's the bunny hop. To where it's, hey, you took a step forward in that Vancouver game. Felt like you had 4 lines deep. You were thinking it's like, oh, okay, they figured it out on the offensive side. I said it post-game. I got into the argument with T-Bone. Felt like they at least created an identity on the offensive side. Cool, that went away against the Columbus Blue Jackets team that, by the way, is not a good defensive team. They were at the bottom of the NHL in almost every statistical category in the defensive side of the game, and you put 1 shot on goal in the first 5 minutes and 7 seconds of that period. And then they only got 1 more shot on goal from Monahan scoring to Bukestad scoring. And that 1 shot was Bukestad scoring. Then they rattle off 16. That's not going to cut it.
Well, they've got Callie Rosen back.
Piss missile.
Yes.
I don't know how he
Cut
fits
down.
into things because Logan Mailloux is for the here and now. He's going to solve everything because it was a trade for today, not for the next 5 years. So
Well, what the hell we give
I
up
don't know
Schumann
how
for?
Callie Rosen fits into solving anything for this team.
He doesn't. He was called upon because they're like, ooh, boy, without Matt Kessel and Logan Mailloux, we have nothing in the minor leagues. I think it tells you more their faith in Schumann playing in the NHL versus
You don't think
about
Callie
Mailloux.
Rosen's going to be up?
No. I think Callie Rosen was brought in if something happens with Mailloux or Kessel.
Okay.
I don't think
Oh,
that
are you ready to get a Rosen jersey over there?
No, he was ready
Would
to
it
send down
shock
Mailloux.
anybody if later this week Mailloux is in the AHL and Callie Rosen's in the starting lineup?
Yeah, that would
It
shock me.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're at a point now where you're
Yeah,
bad.
we're kinda bad.
You're bad to the point where
it wouldn't shock me at all.
It makes more sense for your team to put Dvorsky and Mailloux in top situations for the amount of struggles you're dealing with in terms of sending them down to the AHL. That does nothing.
I mean, I think right now you're trying to stabilize things.
You're past stabilizing in a 7-game losing streak.
They're done? Are we out already?
No, I'm not out. I'm just saying this is not a like stabilize things and everything will be fine. This is a matter of you got to rally off like 5 or 6 wins.
Yeah, that's what but before we can get to 5, we got to get to 1. And it just ain't working right now. So
but putting Mayu in the minors isn't going to fix that. Callie Rosen's not
Mayu
coming
in
up
the
to
lineup probably isn't either.
That's the part that I don't know because he was slated to play in that game Saturday against Columbus, and then like 5 minutes before
He's
puck
on the
drop,
ice today, so I don't think he's hurt.
I don't know.
Maybe sick. Maybe
Could have been sick in that game Saturday, and they were like,
he's not in the lineup.
maybe.
As of today, he was
could
part of
still be
morning
sick.
skate, but he was not a part of the actual lineup.
Let's wait until the coach gives us a reason why Logan Mayu didn't play before we start just assume. You know what happens when you assume things, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, this wasn't the first time that Logan Mayu has been a healthy scratch.
Yeah, but it's the first time it's
happened
been a scratch
most of the season.
a second before the game started.
Yeah, it's also not the first time that this coach has made a change right before the start of the game. I'm
What
not
are we talking about right now?
Logan Mayu, Callie Rosen.
I feel like he's been good the last couple times.
I was going to say, Mayu's been fine. I don't think he's been an issue these last few games.
-9 on the ice.
Better than what a
so
minus
far this
13.
season.
Who's that, Shen?
No, he was a minus 13 like 3 games ago.
In his last 4 games, -2, +1, -1, even.
See, it's better.
Much better than the -4, -3, -4.
So you said you're not all the way out on this team, Alex. You also told us before the show today, I've got a stat for you. And I said,
Oh yeah, I don't know if you want this stat. This might make more people out on the Blues than anything.
So you have not told us this stat. You've been holding it for the start of the show. Full disclosure, I got here like 15 minutes ago because I spent the last 2 hours at the DMV. So if I'm a little on edge today, I apologize.
Way to plan your morning, Brandon.
Yeah, no, I tried. What's the stat?
So this is Friedman's stat, but I piggybacked off of it. So Elliot Friedman today on 32 Thoughts podcast, he's got a November 1st threshold. Thanksgiving is the one we always talk about, but Friedman's threshold is November 1st.
Checks the calendar. It's the 3rd. All right, let's do it.
Of the cap era, so going back to the 2000, 2005, 2006 season, for 82-game season, so not the shortened years, there have been 72 teams on November 1st that have sat 4 points or more out of a playoff spot. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Of those 72 teams that are 4 points or more out of a playoff spot on November 1st, only 10 of them have made the playoffs.
Okay.
Now, I piggybacked off of that because I'm like, well, I'm actually a little more curious of what's happened the rest of the way for those teams. Of those 72 teams, 69% of them have selected in the top 10 of the draft that season.
Nice.
And of those 72 teams, 50% of them have picked in the top 5.
But 13% have made the playoffs.
So you're telling me there's a chance, Lloyd Christmas, but I thought it was very alarming, I guess, if you want to go off of that, with 10 teams of 72 that sit 4 points or fewer, or 4 points or more out of a playoff spot at November 1st, and where they rank in terms of what is that? It's 10 of 72 teams. It's like 13% or something like that. Not a good sign to be in. And I heard Tim talking about it on TMA this morning, and he's right. 96 points got you in last year. We all agree Western Conference has improved significantly. You're talking 100 points. And with 100 points in 69 games the rest of the way, this is going to be very tough.
I've got another stat to piggyback off that. You ready?
Sure.
This is over the last 15 years.
Fine and
Dating
dandy
back
this
to
morning.
2010. Among teams that have 3 or fewer wins in their first 12 games,
Man, that's bad.
only 6 made it to the playoffs. That's in a decade span, or excuse me, 15-year span. So one every 2 to 3 years ends up making it. The teams to do it. COVID year Blackhawks, let's be real. It's not a real season. 2023-24 Oilers, this is the year that they fired Woodcroft after 13 games and they got back on track.
They're not firing Montgomery. Nobody bring it up.
The 2015-2016 Ducks.
I have no recollection of that team.
The 2013-14 Flyers, they fired Laviolette. That is when they hired Craig Berube. The 2013 Capitals and the 2011 Sabres, End of list.
That's shocking. Nothing good happens in Buffalo.
Who wants to be on a Buffalo Sabres list?
2 of the 6 teams fired their coach. 1 of them was in a COVID season, so there are really only 3 teams that apply to the situation that the Blues are in, none of whom have taken place, or only one of whom have taken place in the last decade.
No.
And maybe I'm being a little unfair by adding a caveat here. We don't have a McDavid or Draisaitl, and we don't have a Ovechkin. So really one team, and maybe there was a stud on that Sabres team, I don't remember. But I'll say one team without a superstar that's done that feat without firing their coach.
The 2016 Anaheim Ducks.
It had to have been
about them.
Getzlaf and Perry still.
Yep, sure was. And
Were they superstars at that point?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
Corey
still
Perry
one team
had-
then.
biggest thing for them, they had the best goaltending in the NHL that year.
Oh, wow. That was supposed to be our
Well,
strength.
technically, they do have that. It's
Who was
just
their goalie
hasn't-
that year? Was that Gibson?
John Gibson and Frederick Anderson combined for
Frederick
a
Anderson.
920 save percentage.
Oh, well, the Blues could get to that. They could get there.
Only like a 12% change in their save percentage to get there.
The good news for everybody is that Robert Thomas is back. So,
Yeah, we are so bad.
and they're putting Snuggerud and Dvorsky on the #1 power play unit. Finally, a unit that will shoot the puck.
Nathan Walker healthy scratched.
What
I'm
the?
not okay with that one.
Happens every year, man. Every year.
Every
they
coach.
sign him. They bring him back.
Yeah.
They do everything they can to get Nathan Walker on this team and then keep him around as long as humanly possible. And then say, you know what we should do to make our team better? Get him out of the lineup.
Can I give you my opinion on what I think they should have gone with in terms of the lines rather than this?
We should probably mention what the lines are first.
Sorry. Guess the lines. T-Bone hit the open.
I can't. It hurt my voice last time.
Booch, Thomas, and Snuggie are your top line at morning skate today. Shin, Suter, and Kyrou are your second line. Holloway with Dvorsky and Sonny as the third line. And then your fourth line today at morning skate, Torpo with Bukestad and Joseph. Your defensive pairings are what they have been. Broberg with Parayko, Fowler with Falk, and then Tucker and Kessel are together. Mayu, once again, is the extra for you.
Why'd you say it like that?
Because it's just...
Yeah.
You want to
The
trade him again?
Mayu thing was always about the future, and I don't know why this had to become a conversation.
Who said it wasn't, right, Brandon? Here's my line suggestion. I would have healthy scratched Pavel Buchnevich. And let me explain why. Jim Montgomery on Friday, the pictures were out there. We heard him talk about it. He had a one-on-one conversation with both Buch and Kyrou. And what he told the media after that was said, look, I talked to him about how we need them to be our guys right now. We need them to be the leaders. And maybe some guys just feel uncomfortable in that role. But in a game where your head coach said that to both the players, do you know how many shot attempts Pavel Buchnevich had up until the final 10 minutes of the third period?
I'm going to guess
0.
1.
One. He had 1 shot attempt. He had 3 turnovers and 1 hit. Now, I'm not like...
And that's attempts.
Yes,
not shots
that's
on
attempts.
goal.
And look, I'm not sitting here blasting just Pavel Buchnevich because it's not him, it's everybody. But you can't be passengers when you're in the midst of a 6-game losing streak. And to have your top line forward who got pulled off the power play unit in the previous game, got talked to with the coach, and say like, hey, we need you to be the guy. And it was non-existent in terms of the shot attempts. Man, that's not a good place to be in. And look, I mean, Nathan Walker, he's a bottom 6 forward, and that's not anything negative towards him. I probably would have scratched him, Pavel Buchnevich. But you do take the risk of losing that player mentally, and it seems like right now he might already be going through it. So I understand the coaching's decision to keep pushing forward. You get Thomas back with him. Hopefully you could get the chemistry back. But, man, taking Walker out of a lineup that desperately needs energy night in and night out, I don't know if I'd be doing that.
I think for me, I think this is the best lineup that you can put out there right now. I can quibble with Bukestad versus Sonny, but Sonny's been better than Bukestad this year, so whatever. Joseph, I think maybe you could argue put him on the third line, drop Sonny down to the fourth. That's something they could easily do in-game if they really needed to. I don't mind Sonny on that line with Dvorsky and Holloway, though. Gives you a legit net front presence. They've all got different skill sets, so I kind of like the way they constructed these lines. I think that this is probably as close as you can get to the best possible team right now. And that's not me caping for Pavel Buchnevich. I just think that you lack options.
Yeah. And
You're really severely lacking good options right now in this lineup. It's like what the Cardinals have been for years.
Yeah.
Where you look at it, you're like, well, that guy can't hit third. Okay. then who? I'm not saying that I disagree with it. Like you could choose somebody else, but is it gonna be notably better, or are we just changing the names for the sake of change? And that's kind of how I feel about the Blues lineup right now. We could change it, and I like your idea, Alex, of like healthy scratching to prove a point. That makes more sense to me. But overall, I've seen a lot of people saying Booch can't be on the top line. Okay, then where are you putting him, and who are you replacing him with?
Yeah. That's just it. I mean, I could sit here and say that, but I also understand you're in the middle of a 7-game losing streak. And to take the best players out of the lineup, there's no more protecting it at this point. Like, you need your best players to be your best players, and if they're not, then you're going to continue to lose.
He's Alex. That's T-Bone on BK. It's 11:19. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll get into NFL quick hitters. Yes, I've seen your text. I know that the Chiefs lost yesterday. I'm familiar with what happened in that game. I will give you some of my thoughts on that game and where things stand right now in the AFC. We'll get into that coming up in 15 minutes. We do want to hear from you. 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line. The YouTube chat is available for you, and the YouTube stream is available for you. Hello, good morning, everybody, at youtube.com/101ESPN STL. Coming up next, though, for one night, just one night, the Dodgers being what they are made baseball the best version of itself. We'll talk about that next year on 101 ESPN.
Drilled to left field and deep. And gone! No way! Miguel Rojas! Dave Roberts played his gut. The guy hadn't had a hit in a month. For sure. Roller to second. Rojas comes home in time. Fly ball to left field. Hernandez on the run with Pages over his head. Pages runs him over, makes the catch, sends Game 7 to the 10th. Smith, it's a high fly ball to deep left field. It's got a chance. It is gone. It's Will Smith in Game 7. 2 pitch. Kirk bounces one up the middle. That's to the back. Over to first to beat the champ. You gotta knock him out. The Dodgers stand tall and win back-to-back titles.
That was the Fox call as the LA Dodgers win another, Alex. They become the first back-to-back World Series champion since the evil empire. The New York Yankees did so in the late 90s, early 2000s, alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK. Alex, the irony of Miguel Rojas, Andy Pages, and Will Smith being the heroes for the Dodgers. The irony of it all. For this all to be about the amount of money that they're spending. And then for them to have the 9-hole hitter, Miguel Rojas, who had exactly 1 home run this season off of a right-handed pitcher, to come up with the critical hit, the critical home run to keep that game going. And then for Andy Pages to be the one on a rookie-level deal to make the game-saving catch in center field. And then for Will Smith, who is on a deal that any team in Major League Baseball could have signed. A homegrown, developed player internally signed a 10-year, $140 million deal, the likes of which the Cardinals would even be open to, with a homegrown catcher like Will Smith. For him to be the one that hit the game-clinching home run, the irony of it all is not lost on me. It is also worth noting, though, the guy that really won them that game and ultimately won them the World Series and won the World Series MVP is Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who is the one that put them over the top. That was the piece that was their Kevin Durant. He changed everything. And last year, it didn't look like that was going to be the case. Last year, it looked like, this guy's a little overrated. I don't know that he was worth all of the hype. And now you look at it, that guy's one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball. He has accomplished things that like 3 pitchers in the history of the game have. Oh, by the way, he's 27. He had a 2.4 ERA this season and was dominant as you can be in the World Series. Alex, for one night, for just one night, the Dodgers made Major League Baseball great. The Dodgers made it the purest form of what it can be. A team that 90% of America was rooting against. Homegrown players making unbelievable plays. Some of the best players in Major League Baseball, including their entire rotation, pitching for them in a Game 7. The Blue Jays had their backs against the wall. It felt as though it was finally going to happen. And the Blue Jays the Dodgers kept finding a way. It was amazing. Absolutely incredible theater. You couldn't ask for anything more from Major League Baseball for a day. Now, it sets up for us to not play baseball in 2027, and I think that there are serious flaws in the way that baseball is constructed, as we've talked about the entire season. But if we just put the magnifying glass on one night, instead of expanding it to what baseball is that led to that one night, boy, was that amazing. What was your reaction as you were watching it?
You guys know me as the person that doesn't want to stay up very late, right? Like, if it's extras, I'm pissed. I get home from the Blues game on Saturday already in a real pissy mood. And then,
why is that?
Well, we all know. Oh. And then Rojas hit that home run. And I don't know if I've been ever excited for a baseball game to go to extras than that. Because the moment he hit that, the narrative of Rojas doing it, because the entire broadcast, all they kept doing was, that base hit got Shohei Ohtani up. They're going to see Ohtani. They're going to see Ohtani. And then, of course, Rojas is the one that nobody's expecting. So I was pumped because that baseball game I didn't want to end. And it gave us a lot more action, and it gave us an incredible memory, which, going back The 2011 World Series, man, there's not many World Series games that I can remember effective as an elimination game as that one.
2016. The 2016 World Series where the Cubs, they went into the rain delay.
That's a good one.
The comeback there, that one will forever live in the back of my mind. And the whole Cubs storyline, hate them,
Yeah,
I
think
get
that
all
was
of that.
the
but
whole season, too.
The fact that you had the Cubs storyline as the backdrop to that, and then the rain delay and everything that happened after, that one is probably, for me, still going to live as the number one game that I have seen. But, dude, this
one was incredible.
This is as good as it gets.
You're 2 outs away. That entire stadium probably was standing for the final 5 innings. Like, they felt it, and then Rojas crushed their dreams. And I thought Toronto was still going to win. But then the LA Dodgers just continued to showcase their dominance. And here's the part, not bigger picture, because you're right, that one game. But here's the part I find fascinating. Now the narrative of the offseason shifts a little bit. Not so much of, well, the Dodgers can't keep getting away with this. You're right. But it wasn't Betts that was the big storyline. It wasn't Freeman. Little Shohei Ohtani. Yes, Yamamoto was the one, and that's international dollars. But for the people that will go into the offseason saying, well, the Dodgers can't keep doing this. Man, Rojas and Pages are the ones that won that game for them.
See, this is where I would push back. For a day, agreed. They're not in that position without all of those other players that you're talking
You're
about.
right, but the Dodgers' argument for it all is, yeah, but we've got guys in our system that can come through in big moments. It doesn't always have to be the stars.
Yeah, well, the Dodgers can kiss my you-know-what.
Muncy hits the bomb to tie the game or bring them back within one. Rojas hits the game to tie it. Their argument is, yeah, but we've got the depth, too. It doesn't always have to be our
I think that
superstars.
argument falls completely flat because there are probably 15 teams in Major League Baseball that have as good or better depth than the Dodgers.
Sure.
The difference for the Dodgers is that, during the regular season, they can continue to spend to make it so they don't care that their rotation is on the IL. They can continue to spend so their bullpen has 15 different options over the course of the season. They can continue to spend so that Shohei Ohtani, Will Smith, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, and Max Muncy. Oh, by the way, we'll just go ahead and keep Teoscar Hernandez. Oh, and Tommy Edman here. Let's extend you. The amount of money that they are spending on this team is not by accident. And the fact that they had Shohei Ohtani, Tyler Glasnow, Blake Snell, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, let's not forget that those were 4 of the 6 pitchers that entered the game for them. And that is a huge part of how they won this game, right? So, yes,
I'm not
the depth showed up, and it was a huge story of Saturday. The $350 million payroll is a huge story for game 1 up until November 1st or November 2nd, whatever it was, that they ultimately ended up winning the World Series.
And I agree with that. I'm just saying the Dodgers narrative on that one is going to be that side of it this offseason.
And they're lying.
Yeah, because
They will
you
be.
mentioned what they went to in their bullpen, quote unquote bullpen, in that game 7. One guy was a bullpen arm. Most teams, if the Blue Jays are on truth serum, they didn't feel comfortable with Bieber coming into that game in the 10th inning. For the Dodgers,
Hell, Dominguez. They didn't. There's no way you felt comfortable with him coming into the game either.
no, they didn't feel good about Dominguez either. But for the Dodgers, their whole plan this October. Last year it was, hey, our bullpen is so good, let's get our starter out as soon as humanly possible. This October, the goal was, okay, the rotation has to eat 7 innings or we're probably going to lose. And then when it was game 7, backs against the wall, what did they do? They threw literally their whole rotation into the game. They start with Ohtani on short rest. Robleski's the only bullpen arm that comes into that game. Glasnow's a starter that was on regular rest that they end up going to. Then they go to Sheehan, who was a starter in their rotation. Then they go to Snell, who's a starter. Then they go to Yamamoto, who started game 6. Most teams can't do that, and it's not because they don't want to. It's because they can't trust their rotation 1 through 3, let alone 1 through 6, which is what I just read off there, which is the superpower of the LA Dodgers.
No doubt.
And
the money mattered.
Exactly. And I agree. The Dodgers, they pulled that thing off to a T, and they had their depth guys step up for them, and they don't win that World Series without them. But, man, they cannot change the narrative of the offseason that's ahead. But with that still being said, man, they put on a hell of a show for that Game 7 because they executed to a T when it came to what was necessary. And it was what was great about it is the details of it all. Dave Roberts goes to Pages in center field, doesn't start that inning in center field, goes in there because Edman has the noodle arm that we talked about a lot here in St. Louis when he would play center field, and he brings him in when the runner can tag from third base. Now, it doesn't matter on the first out, but then, of course, it saves the game for that final out of that ninth inning. I don't think Edman or Hernandez are making that catch if he doesn't go to Pages in that situation.
Yeah, it was well managed. You had execution in all of these spots. We mentioned the hit, but also the defensive play by Miguel Rojas that he made to get the runner out at home. And those same details weren't there for the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays, like IKF, had zero lead when he was on third base. Zero. And if he takes a little bit more of a lead, an extended lead from third, he's probably scoring on that play. Because, I mean, the distance was a few inches.
Yeah.
That was the difference.
Especially because Smith's foot came up, too.
He had it. It should have been there, and he ultimately wasn't able to get it. Man, if I'm a Blue Jays fan today, we talked a lot about this from the Dodgers' perspective of things, and they're a worthy World Series champion. It was an unbelievable series. For them to get this, both games in Toronto, Alex, we had mentioned a number of times how great the environment was in Toronto, and it felt like they were going to party.
They were kind of already partying.
If I'm a Blue Jays fan, I don't know how I can watch opening day next year.
I'm giving up?
At least you got the Maple Leafs.
Oh.
I mean, that's as close as you can come to winning a World Series without actually doing it. I'm not sure any team has ever come closer. And I'm including the Texas Rangers because it wasn't just once. It wasn't they got to the final out and then, here comes David. Like, it was multiple games where this happened. Think about the 18-inning game. How many opportunities they had in that one. And then you go to game 6. And then you go to game 7 in extras. Had, like, multiple situations where all you needed was a fly ball to the outfield. That's it. That's all you needed. And they couldn't get it done. If I don't know how you just immediately turn your attention back to baseball. And now Bo Bichette, who's one of your best homegrown players, he's probably going to be headed elsewhere. There's no guarantee that George Springer ever has a season the way that he did this year. The guy's 36 years old. I mean, the odds of him being this level of player again next year, incredibly low. Your rotation being as healthy as it was this season, pretty damn low. The bullpen coming together the way that it did. Trey Yesavage becoming this version of himself again. This is probably the best we'll ever see of Trey Yesavage. It's crazy to say because it's the first time we've ever seen him, but it's probably the best we'll ever see out of him. And for you not to be able to capitalize, oh boy. That one hurts, man. And the AL was kind of down this year, if we're being real. A little bit down relative to what it has been at times in the past. Oof. That one bites.
Who had a worse loss?
Toronto.
Yeah, I was going to say Toronto.
I don't care who you put up next to it. I think the answer is
I was only going to say that because we talked about how the Mariners can't get back to that level of dominance either, but it's still the World Series.
Yeah,
it's the World Series. It's the Dodgers. It's having it on at home.
That's just a brutal,
back-to-back games where you had 18 innings, the longest game ever.
And the worst part about it, and they said it on the broadcast when the home run happened, but the big concern with Hoffman coming into the playoffs was I think he led the AL in home runs allowed. You know, he had the same issue as Sonny Gray, gave up a bunch of home runs. And to give it up, it'd be one thing if you give up like the tying blast to Ohtani, right? Like, okay, yeah, sure, you got beat by the best. You got beat by the guy that even Dave Roberts couldn't believe it. The camera panned to him and his eyes were wide, his hands were on his head. They had nobody to pinch hit for him. Like, it was the right call.
When he went up to the plate, when Miguel Rojas went to the plate, I texted you guys this. I can't believe he's hitting here. I went to their roster and I was like, no, he has to. Like, you have no other choice here. But I couldn't believe for a $350 million roster, they had nobody better to put out there than a right-on-right situation where Miguel Rojas is at the plate. One home run in like 350 plate appearances this year against right-handed pitching. And then he comes through with one. He even forgot about it, by the way. After the game, he said, I don't think I had a home run against a right-handed pitcher all season long. He had one, but then he gets it in the biggest possible moment. So for that to be the way that this thing goes down is just chef's kiss. And Alex, you're right. Like, in that game, it wasn't about the money. At least at the plate, and at least with some of the biggest plays. It was on the mound, but for most of the plays that we remember, it wasn't about the money. It was about homegrown talent, it was about depth, and it was about all of those guys coming through for the LA Dodgers. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll get into questions and answers, but next, time for some NFL quick hitters here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Blues back in action tonight, and it looks like Robert Thomas will be returning to the lineup for St. Louis. Nathan Walker will be a scratch according to the Morning Rush lines, and the Blues will be taking on the Edmonton Oilers tonight. Well, pregame coverage starting at 6:30 with Alex Ferrario, and puck drop at 7:30 with Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale. And college hoops tips off tonight. SLU will be hosting SEMO. Mizzou goes on the road to take on Howard, and then Illinois takes on Jackson State. The Sports Room Update was driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. SEMALondoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
All right, I'm going to read you a little bit. This comes from a story that just posted over on ESPN.com. When Arizona Cardinals wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. takes the field at AT&T Stadium on Monday against the Cowboys, his dad will be sitting at home 1,500 miles away in Philadelphia watching on TV. That will be a struggle for the Hall of Fame wide receiver. Anytime that Marvin Harrison Sr. turns on his son's game, he sees an NFL that looks vastly different from the sport that he left. Quote, "It's very hard for me to watch the Cardinals offense. You can quote me on that," end quote.
I agree.
Is he talking baseball or football?
Both.
Okay. Oof. I mean, he could just isolate it to one. It's very hard to watch Kyler Murray play for this team. And I know Kyler hasn't played these last couple of weeks, but you saw what it looks like without Kyler, and it's not even anywhere near what Kyler can provide, and Kyler still isn't very good. So Marvin Harrison getting traded?
Did Kyler get benched? Did anybody else see the report? Like, hey, he might have a role, but Brissett's starting.
He's not their starter anymore. Jacoby Brissett is better.
Which is the low bar to clear.
I saw a story today from Pro Football Talk. They basically can't trade him at the deadline, but it would be a surprise at this point if Kyler Murray's not traded in the offseason. I don't know where he's going to go, but it sure seems like he's going to be the next rehab project for somebody across the NFL. So, Cardinals versus Cowboys tonight. Feel the excitement.
Woohoo.
I like the Cowboys in that one, minus the 3.5 points. Do you guys have a lean?
Yeah, I'll go Cowboys minus 3.5. The only reason I hesitate is their defense sucks.
It's terrible.
Yeah, but I mean, the Cardinals just...
They can't do anything well.
Yeah, I think that's an
think
easy
it's
cover for the Cowboys.
35-28 touchdown win for the Cowboys.
Right. Okay, so let's get into the NFL. I've seen your texts. I understand many of you guys would like me to address the Chiefs' loss yesterday. They got flat out outplayed. The Bills were the better team in every area. They were better defensively. They were better on special teams until they missed that kick at the very end. They were better offensively. Josh Allen was the better quarterback. They were outcoached every aspect of the game. The Buffalo Bills were flat out better, and I tip my cap to that team, man. I didn't know they had that in them this year. They had not played like that for the vast majority of the season. I picked the Chiefs to win. I was wrong. That being said, we've seen this before. This is the 5th consecutive time that the Bills have beat the Chiefs in the regular season. Do I think that is going to matter in January? No, probably not. I still think that I will be picking the Chiefs, but there were some worrisome trends in this game. I think the offensive line is going to be fine. That was mostly about injury and Josh Simmons not being there. The defense has problems. The defense can't get pressure with 4, and when they don't get home and they're not up, well, now suddenly the secondary has some pressure on it that it did not come through with in this game. Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, the tight ends, they killed the Chiefs in that game. So kudos to the Bills. They were flat out the better team. Do want to ask you a question in relation to this, Alex, because the Chiefs were not the only surprise loss over the weekend. Chiefs, Lions, Packers, and Colts all lost this weekend. Which of those teams' losses gave you the most pause about them as a contender? Chiefs, Lions, Packers, or Colts?
Packers. Lions, I can somewhat explain. I mean, defensively, they've got warts. Now, 24 points against the Vikings. Jahmyr Gibbs was non-existent in that game. Little surprising to me. The Colts one, I think that was just a little bit of expecting to win. The Packers one is a problem because it's been a trend all year. Like, Jordan Love is the ultimate Jekyll and Hyde quarterback right now.
It was a Sunday, which means they didn't look good.
Yeah, but 13 points against the Panthers? I know the Panthers' defense is good, but come on, man. And I know they lost Tucker Kraft. That's a big piece of their offense.
That, to me, is why it's so concerning, because he is not just he is the piece. He is the most explosive element of that offense, and if they don't have him, they have nothing.
And that's
that scares you.
And that's what my concern was at the beginning of the season.
Sure.
You don't have game breakers in terms of guys that can open up plays for Jordan Love other than Josh Jacobs. But, man, Jordan Love has got a lot of Jekyll and Hyde in him. So that one, to me, very alarming.
Yeah, mine was Packers as well. Because 2 weeks ago, I mean, we were talking about them, that Cardinals game, if you remember. They won 27-23. Jordan Love didn't look good in that game. I think he threw for, if I'm not mistaken, it was 179 passing yards against the freaking Cardinals. And we were looking at it going, are they okay? Like, are they fine? And then you get 2 weeks later, and here they are, and they're losing to the Carolina Panthers. And I don't care that you had all your weapons. There's no excuse to lose that Carolina Panthers team. And the fact that they lost Kraft, I agree with BK. He was the go-to guy. I don't know how they recover from that injury. They'll make the playoffs. I have no concern about that. But as a real contender, no way am I looking at them as a team that can get out of this NFC.
My thing from that game was actually not even the offense. It was the defense. He gave up $165 on the ground to the Panthers? Really? That defense has to be better than that. And I know they only gave up 16 points ultimately, but that's a little misleading considering Rico Dowdle put up 130 yards on the ground against you. That cannot happen. To me, though, it was the Colts. And we'll get into this later on today in our pick'em. That is the regular season loss that portends playoff failure. That's what happened on Sunday. That's what it looks like. I don't know who it's going to happen against. I don't know when it will happen in the playoffs. But that's what it's going to look like when they lose in the playoffs this year. It's why I couldn't buy into them prior to this game. I was a sucker and picked them when everything suggested this is a complete trap game. 3-point line, all of this stuff. I couldn't help myself. It was too much to overcome. It's like the fly going into the light. It's too much for me. 6 turnovers? You turned the ball over 6 times against a bad Pittsburgh Steelers defense? The Steelers had to do nothing offensively in this game, Alex. Did you see what their total numbers were? They finished the game offensively with 225 total yards. 225.
That's prime field positioning.
They averaged fewer than 4 yards per play. Through the air, they did a whole lot of nothing in this game. 5 yards per attempt for Aaron Rodgers. On the ground, somehow even worse, finished with 30 rushing yards. The defense for the Colts was fine, but when you turn it over 6 times, eventually the other team's going to be like, all right, I guess we can go ahead and score with this thing. So the Colts, for me, was the team that was the most disappointing, and it was the one that I felt watching it like, yeah, I should have seen this one coming. And this is exactly what it's going to look like in the end.
I guess the reason I didn't pick it is because I guess I've just always assumed at some point it's going to happen, right? Like, it feels very Sam Darnold, Minnesota-like. It just so happened to be the same time when I, picked the Colts, and it was, all in the same as BK.
All right, can I ask you one more question on the NFL, and then we'll get to questions and answers, 314-399-9646 on the other side?
Yeah, what do you got?
I'm going to give you a list of teams. All of these teams have 3 losses at this point in the season. I want you to tell me which of these teams you feel the best about today. And you can take that in any direction, but which one of them do you feel the best about as of today? The 49ers, the Jaguars, the Steelers, who beat the Colts yesterday, Chargers, or Bears. That's a list of 5 teams. 49ers, Jaguars, Steelers, Chargers, or Bears. They all have 3 losses at this point in the season. Who do you feel the best about?
God, this is like asking, I don't even know because I don't want to have an answer on this one. I think it would be a tie between the 49ers and the Jaguars, and I'll give the slight edge to the 49ers because of the head coach. I don't feel, the Bears just, we've talked about it. They had a cupcake schedule, and they're winning, but whether it's the defense one week or Caleb Williams another week, that one I'm just not investing much into. The Chargers can't just stay healthy. They could keep grinding out wins, but they'll lose Joe Alt. They'll lose another offensive tackle. Their wide receivers go down, running backs. So it would probably be the 49ers above the Jaguars.
I feel like every week I see Joe Alt leave on a cart.
It's only happened in one
It's
week.
one of the 2 left tackles.
Oh,
Or
has that happened
tackles.
twice?
Yeah.
Because he left earlier in the season, came back, and now he's out again, and it sounds like he might miss the rest of the season potentially. So
The team for me would be the 49ers. And I think they're like, I can't trust the Jaguars. They tried to lose to the freaking Raiders over the weekend.
They tried really hard.
Yeah, and like Lawrence threw a shovel pass right to a Raider in the end zone in the first quarter. Like, man, you want to talk about a quarterback that stinks. I don't trust the Bears either, and it's more a Caleb Williams. I still don't think he's going to take that next step. I know he looked good against the Bengals. Everybody looks good against the Bengals defense. Mine's the 49ers, and it's just the fact that, you know what, they're surviving while they're dealing with just a ton of injuries. And when you get Brock Purdy back, who is a better quarterback than Mac Jones, and you get Pearsall back, and you get Jennings back, and then we'll see if they add Ayuk to that list or not. Now you're talking about an offense that could overcome some of their defensive issues. And like Alex said, I trust Kyle Shanahan. I mean, what he's doing right now with San Francisco and the pieces they have is impressive as hell. So I would say the 49ers.
I think they're the answer. Can I talk about the Bears, though, for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I find them to be really interesting. Their offense is really good, like legitimately good right now. Their offense since week 3, 5th in the NFL in sack rate, 1st in fewest turnovers per play, 13th in success rate, 3rd in rushing success rate, 2nd in explosive play rate. They are hitting explosives all over the place. In this game against the Bengals, dude, the Bengals had no answers. Now, they have no answers for anybody, to be fair, but 47 points against that team, and it all felt real. The running game is, they have recreated what the Lions had in their running game. Ben Johnson is a mastermind in that area. It's one thing that I think gets understated when you look at the best head coaches, best play callers in the NFL right now. Sean McVay made his money based on his running game early on. Now, it also evolved into the passing game, but his running game was the basis for it early in his Rams tenure. You look at what's going on in San Francisco, dude, it's the running game that he's always been known for out there with Kyle Shanahan. The running game is what made Liam Cohen a really interesting head coaching candidate because of what he did with the Bucs. Yes, it also helps with the passing game, but guess what? A good running game helps in that area. It's your jab that allows you to unlock the haymaker. And the Bears right now have their running game going. Kyle Monangai yesterday, 26 carries for $176 on the ground. He looked amazing, and he's like a average to above average back. But they're able to get this thing going because of what they're doing schematically, and that opens everything up for Caleb Williams, who's playing at a really high level right now. There are still some decisions that you look at, you're like, I don't know. But he's helping his team with his ground game. 5 carries yesterday for 50 yards on the ground. He has been a much better runner this year. And through the year, he's much more effective. So I don't think the Bears are a legit contender because I don't trust that defense.
I don't trust that quarterback in the playoffs.
But I do think they could make the playoffs because of how good the offense is and because the schedule is semi-manageable the rest of the way. So they're the team I find most interesting. 49ers are the team that I think is still the best among the list of teams that I mentioned there. All right, he's Alex. That's T-Bone. I'm BK. Let's get to questions and answers coming up next here on 101 ESPN. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and get them in on the Air Comfort Service text line right now. From the 314, guys, probably a dumb question, but we need to fill out the rotation. Does signing Max Scherzer for a year make any sense for the Cardinals? I don't think he would sign here.
No, that's what I was
part of
gonna
the
say.
problem. Because if you're Scherzer, other than coming home, what's the intrigue of signing with the Cardinals when you know you're probably going to be dealt at the trade deadline this year?
Also, I want to go somewhere to win.
Exactly.
I'm only going to probably pitch maybe 75 innings, and I want to be available in the postseason, and I'm not going to waste the innings in St. Louis and get traded and possibly not be available in the postseason.
I would be surprised if Scherzer signs anywhere other than San Francisco this offseason. It just
Is that where he
feels
lives?
like no.
Or he's just tied to him?
He's tied to Tony Vitello.
that
They're
makes
like
sense.
best friends. So I would think Scherzer's probably going to be a Giant by the end of the offseason. That would be my guess. And I don't think it makes a ton of sense on his side to sign with the Cardinals. Now, if we're purely saying like, hey, he's interested in signing in St. Louis, do you think he makes sense for them? Sure. I'm open to it. Be relatively inexpensive. If you end up getting it to where he doesn't have a no trade clause, there could be absolutely a team that's interested in trading for Max Scherzer at the deadline to do what he did this year for the Blue Jays. So I'd be fine with it. I think you could do a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah, I agree.
Sells tickets, too.
Yeah, I think if he wants to come here, you put pen to line and you get the deal done. But odds are, I don't think he wants to come here. I think he wants to go play for a contender.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers from the 636. Alex, do you think Dvorsky will get his first points tonight playing on the top power play unit? Looks elite with him, Snuggie, and Thomas on that group.
I mean, he's been close in 2 games of getting his first point. I mean, obviously the post that he hit, I thought he played another really solid game in Columbus. Didn't get a whole lot of offensive zone time because obviously Columbus is a heavy offensive zone team. But it's going to happen at some point. I like the fact that he's on that number 1 power play unit. So, yeah, why not? Take higher than half a point
There
for
you go.
Dvorsky on underdog.
From the 636, when do you think we'll start seeing some movement in free agency or trades in this Major League Baseball offseason? Typically next week is when you'll start seeing like some kind of movement in any way. That's when I believe it's the GM meetings are taking place. I think they're in Vegas this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Not much gets done then.
I'm not positive on that.
Got
but
to
I
go to
think
a
that's what
place
I
where
heard.
it's not fun to go out.
So that's next week, and that's when you'll start to hear at least some rumors, if nothing else, because all of the writers and GMs will be in the same room talking to one another. So that's when you could hear a little something.
Yeah, you don't really start to see a lot of moves happen until you get to the winter meetings and then after. That's when the offseason really takes off because that's when a lot of talking's gone back and forth and teams start to get a little bit desperate in making moves.
From Mahomes' long body, guys, what's more likely to happen? The Chiefs miss the playoffs entirely or they win the Super Bowl? A reminder, they're currently in 8th place, and if the season ended today, they would miss the playoffs.
I was going to ask you if there's any concern from you of them missing the playoffs.
No.
I think that's my answer, too. So the answer here would be concern of winning the Super Bowl.
If they lose their next 2 games, I'll start getting concerned. But that's what it would take. For me to be worried about them actually missing the playoffs, they would have to lose to Denver on the road, and they would have to lose at home against Indianapolis. If you lose both of those games, now you're 5-6, you're under 500, and you're basically in the position that Cincy found themselves a year ago. But I don't think they're going to lose both of those games, and as long as you don't, you're 6-5 with Dallas, Houston, the Chargers banged up, Tennessee, Denver, and Las Vegas the rest of the way. Yeah, I'm not worried.
Yeah, I'm not worried about them either. And even if they did lose the next 2, I said this on Friday, I'm still going to be the last guy that panics. I just think they're going to find a way to get in. They go lose these next 2 games. I mean, I'm looking at the playoff picture. Chargers, I think, will fall out. Jacksonville could fall out. And Baltimore's the one team that could replace them that moves up. So, there's no panic for me.
By the way, some news to pass along on the Chiefs. Chiefs offensive line is expecting to get another player back. Rookie left tackle Josh Simmons, according to reports, is back at the team facility on Monday. Simmons has missed the last 4 games while attending to a personal matter. So it sounds like they could have Josh Simmons back as well for their game against the Broncos next week, because this upcoming weekend they're on their bye. So that's another reason why I am not overly concerned about where the Chiefs find themselves today. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. In 15 minutes, we'll get into in or out. You guys give us a scenario. We will tell you if we are in or out here on BK and Ferrario. It's 12:06. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Coming up next, are the Blues already ready to make changes? I don't think so, but we'll let you hear what one of the lead NHL insiders had to say about the possibility next year on 101 ESPN.
Alex Ferrario with you to talk about my friends over at Ted Drew's, the famous St. Louis tradition that has been around since 1929. It's open off of Chippewa, and it is open daily. It's been there for 4 generations of families have been running this business built on quality service and a love for St. Louis. It's got delicious frozen custard, and you can mix and match whatever you want in terms of flavors. You could get it as a concrete malt shake, sundae, float, ice cream, soda, and the best part, you could buy it in the quart size and bring it home with you and save it for all of these upcoming holidays. And whether it's a fall evening, hot summer day, this is the spot to be at where all of St. Louis goes to just sit back, relax, and enjoy that tradition that has been around since 1926. So get on out there, and while you're out there, walk across the parking lot and check out the gift shop and the historical museum for Ted Drew's. You can see stuff from Route 66, St. Louis history, Ted Drew's history, and the gift shop. You've got souvenirs, stylish apparel, and gift cards, which are the perfect stocking stuffer once we get into this holiday season. Again, off of Chippewa on the historical Route 66, Ted Drew's frozen custard, unmatched quality, unforgettable taste.
All right, so Alex, we got in today, and he mentioned to us, hey, there's some audio from the 32 Thoughts podcast that I think we should listen to. Elliot Friedman, one of the best NHL insiders in the business, was talking about the Blues and the Wild. Both of them have gotten off to a slow start. Here's what he had to say.
I think those two teams have been looking around, not necessarily on the precipice of doing anything, but just kind of, I heard both those teams were making calls last week. What's out there? Is there anything we're missing? Just want to know, just in case. There's certain points where teams start asking around. Maybe it's your job as a GM to know what's out there, but there are certain times it takes on a bit more urgency, or you reignite conversations. And I think for both those teams, Doug Armstrong, Bill Guerin, last week was about that.
What'd you make of that?
That they're in a spot that they don't know how to get out of. And if you're making calls, and Friedman's right, like typically you don't see big moves happen this early. And frankly, when anybody says, well, the Blues need to make a trade, what are you trading? Like, what pieces are you moving out to bring something in that makes a significant change? And I don't know if you guys taken a look around the National Hockey League, but the Eastern Conference, I think everybody is within 2 points of a play. No, I'm sorry. Everybody's within 1 point of a playoff spot right now. They're not making trades. The bad teams right now in the West are St. Louis and Calgary, because San Jose's 3 points out. So to me, that tells me that both Minnesota and St. Louis kind of throw their hands up right now saying, we don't know why we're in this and we've got to make a change. But there's nothing out there to make changes. And to call around, find what the atmosphere is of teams around the National Hockey League of saying like, hey, look, we had this conversation at the draft. Are you still interested in this? To me, that's Doug saying we've got to make a change because this can't continue. The problem with all of this is it may be the time to make a change, but you've entered the window of no return of you really can't move anything to make a change. Like, for example, if you're reigniting conversations, we talked in the offseason because the rumors were Buffalo and St. Louis were talking about Bo Byram. Well, they're probably not interested in that anymore because they're 1 point out of a playoff spot. They just re-signed Byram, and the pieces that you probably needed to move, well, now there are no trade clauses are kicked in.
Yeah, Jordan Kyrie's not going to Buffalo. Let's be real. He's got a full no-trade clause. Why the hell would he waive that to go to the place that nobody wants to go to in Buffalo?
And not just Kyrou. Pavel Buchnevich is another one that people keep bringing up.
Full no-trade clause. Braden Shin has a modified no-trade clause. Maybe that's something you could talk about. I mean, let's be serious for a second. Like, there were conversations about it at the deadline last year. Mm-hmm. According to reports, Blues may or may not have gone to Braden Shin, and he turned it down. He said, I'm not going anywhere. He can't do that this year to the same degree. He has a modified no-trade clause instead of a full no-trade clause. So maybe that's a 15-team list, maybe.
But to me, if you go down the Shen path, that doesn't help this team. I mean, you're getting rid of a guy who actually is a leader on this team versus guys that have been around long enough. That takes you a step backwards if you're making that move.
Probably. It is a traditional seller move. Do you get significantly worse by making it? My honest to God answer is I don't know. I wouldn't make it right now.
Yeah.
Because it at a minimum, like, these are human beings inside of the locker room, and if you trade the captain, who has done everything he can to ignite something within this team, it tells everybody this season is going nowhere. From a pure hockey sense, how much worse do you get? I honestly don't know, but it would depend on the return.
I don't think you're calling around in sell mode right now. I think you're calling around trying to make a move that benefits your team.
But what can they do? They have no second-round pick this year. They have no second-round pick next year. Typically, that's the kind of thing that you would dangle to go out there and make a move of substance. They did that last year with Cam Fowler, for example. What are you adding? What are you adding, and what are you sending elsewhere that would be intriguing to other teams? I guess you could send a prospect. But this is typically not the time of the year when you see those kinds of moves. That's the trade deadline.
And nobody wants a prospect right now because everybody, with the exception of Calgary, is in a playoff race. So you don't have anything, to be frank, to just go out there and make a move for a move's sake. And let's be real frank about it. What are you bringing back that you think is going to fix this team's issues? You're not going to go out there and find a top 6 player. You're not going to go acquire a top 4 defenseman. You're not going to get a goaltender. So are we talking about making a change for change sake of a bottom 6 forward? I mean, Nathan Walker's out of the freaking lineup. He makes more of an impact than anybody you're going to go out there and find.
Yeah, this team, the answers have to be internally. I'm not telling you they are internally. They have to be internally, though. It's got to be Pavel Buchnevich. It's got to be Robert Thomas. It's got to be, when he gets back 4 weeks from now, hopefully, Jake Neighbors. It's got to be the defense coming together. It's got to be Hofer over the weekend looked better. So he needs to continue doing that. Jordan Bennington has to be better than he has been so far. They need better returns from that third pair defensively. Hey, Parayko, you got to play better. Hey, Broberg, you got to play. Broberg's been good. Hey, Justin Falk, you've got to play better. Cam Fowler, you've got to be better. These guys have to play the way that they did last year when the team got back on track. And right now, they have too many guys that just aren't performing. That's not going to change by adding some $2 million player into the mix.
No.
Dylan Holloway's got to be what he was last year.
Yeah.
There's a huge regression that's taking place with so many of the pieces that made this thing go. Until that changes, I mean, they can look around, but to me, it's more about selling. The conversations that I would imagine they're having right now, I don't think there's buying going on. I think it is, hey, if this thing goes south, here are the players that we're going to be listening on.
I think
that's why I brought up Braden Shen's name, because, man, there's only so many pieces that you could realistically sell.
Yeah, I just don't know. You're not in the seller point yet, but I would say probably in 3 weeks, if this thing doesn't turn around in terms of a win streak significantly, I mean, that's about the time that Doug Armstrong in 2019 started calling around the National Hockey League and saying, like, hey, everyone's available. It was post-Thanksgiving, pre-Christmas.
He said, put your Christmas wish list together because our whole team's available.
And we already know the stats that Joey has brought up in terms of teams to make the playoffs, where they're at once you hit Thanksgiving. So, yeah, you got about, 24, 25 days before you enter that window. But again, you sell pieces if you get to that point to get assets. That doesn't fix the underlying issues. The underlying issues are the core pieces that you have in place, which, sure, if you want to say Braden Shen, but to me, it's Thomas, it's Kyrou, it's Buchnevich, it's Parayko, it's Fowler. And it's your goalies.
Text line, well endowed, said they'll be fine. They might be. They might be. It doesn't look that way right now. They've lost 7 consecutive games. You're now 3-7-2. This point in the season. As I mentioned earlier today, history is very much not on your side. Alex had a stat on how rare it is for a team to be this far out at this point in the season and for them to make the playoffs. I looked up something similar over the weekend. Only 6 teams in the last 15 years made the playoffs after this kind of a start. 3 or fewer wins in their first 12 games. Only 6 teams have done that. Only 2 in the last decade, and one of those was a COVID season with the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
You're off to a horrific start, and unless that changes dramatically and urgently, this is a team that does not look like a playoff team. And I don't, based on everything we've actually seen, if you simply had no recollection of what happened a year ago, and your only evidence of who this team is what you've seen in the first 12 games of the season, this is much closer to a top 5 picking team than one that is going to compete for a playoff spot.
Well, and you mentioned last year's team. It looks worse than it did last year at this time. Last year, they were 6-6 through 12 games.
And at least I could explain that one by saying, oh, you've got a coach that's in over his head.
And what's funny is last year at this time, you were awful in the offensive zone, but you were great in your own end. And now you're better in your own end this year. Your problem, and you're generating chances offensively. Everyone has pointed it out. Your problem is goaltending and the high danger chances that you're giving. So they flipped in terms of what you're good at and what you're not good at.
It's back to what it was, 3 years ago? 2022?
That last year of
last
year with that O'Reilly Perron core.
Yeah, the 7-game losing streak.
Year.
Yeah, that was the 7-game losing streak.
They weren't giving up a ton of chances, but when they did, what was the goalie supposed to do? And there's a lot of that. There's also some of your goalies just aren't making saves.
Yeah.
Real quick, a couple of things. 636. Why don't you just make a trade with Calgary like Florida did to help both teams? What do you want from Calgary right now that makes you better?
What I'm assuming that Florida Calgary trade.
Yeah,
well, that was in the offseason.
Well, and what do you think that they have that makes you better? And then the other one is from the 3-1-4 guys. What's Lucic up to? Guys, Milan Lucic isn't helping this team. Milan Lucic is he's a vibes guy, which is probably good for this team right now, but he's not fixing this team.
Maybe he makes it 5% better. They need to be like 100% better. than what they have been so far this year. This is not about small incremental changes. We've seen small incremental changes, and what it amounts to is a shootout loss against Vancouver and a close loss on the road against Columbus. All that you have to do is, beat Edmonton and then go on the road and beat Washington and then have a back-to-back on the second half of that against Buffalo.
And then Seattle when you come back home.
They're in a really bad spot right now.
6-1-8. Maybe Montgomery's not the coach this team needs. Obviously, he's not getting through to these players.
Then
it's the players' problem. You've gone through 3 coaches in a matter of 4 years. We're not going to sit here and keep doing this maybe he's not getting through to the players. You can't keep rotating through guys until somebody gets through their heads. At some point, the players have to respond
because
to
we
it.
gave him a 5-year deal.
I'm glad Alex said that because I was getting ready to, and then Alex just took everything I wanted to say.
I have been so... It bothers the hell out of me. For the last 4 years when things go bad as well, it's the coach's problem. It pissed me off with Berube, Bannister. I didn't like it, but then Buchnevich had the comments, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess I can understand it here. And even if Bannister was still bad, if Montgomery wasn't available last year, I've been saying the same damn thing. But we talked about it because Montgomery became available. Why? Because he's a top 5 coach in the league. I'm not going to sit here and act as if, the players aren't listening to the coach, so let's go get a coach.
The problem, and this is what Starvin Marvin says, yes, maybe it is the problem, but the core is all locked in. And that's where you end up getting stuck.
Yep.
That is we've done this over the last few weeks since the start of the Blue season. The intrusive thought that's coming into your mind. The intrusive thought that has been coming into my mind over the last week or so is, what if you've locked in a core that's mediocre? That's my concern. And then what happens? How do you get out of that? And man, I've been saying for 3 years, it feels like the Cardinals and the Blues are in such a similar spot. And then last year, the Blues go on that crazy run, and everybody yelled at me and talked about how stupid that was. And it felt really stupid at the time, just to be clear. I agreed with everything you guys were saying.
It felt keep defending that?
So dumb. But then you look at it now, and we're right back to where we were, where it's like, man, it feels really similar to where the Cardinals are at, and maybe it just came to the realization a little bit too late, unfortunately.
I would imagine the front office is asking that same question.
Is Booch your Miles Michaelis? Some are wondering. Coming up next in around here on 101 ESPN. 214-399-9646 is the Your Comfort Service text line for in or out. You guys give us a scenario. We will tell you if we are in or out here on BK and Ferrario. All right, Alex, I'll start out with this one, college football side of things. A lot of coaches changing this offseason, including now at Auburn. No, well, maybe. And including at Auburn, where Hugh Freeze was fired over the weekend. Gone. He's gone. In or out, Josh Heupel will be the head coach at a university other than Tennessee next year.
Oh, I have not thought about him as a Bailtown guy, but that could make sense.
I think I'm going to say in on this one. I for some reason just did not think of this at all, and I have to imagine if you're him at Tennessee and you're seeing one of these other jobs open up, it's like, oh, okay, bigger school in the SEC or potentially Penn State. So I think I might say in on this.
I think I'm going to still say out, but it is an interesting one. I do kind of like the idea of him bailing on Tennessee to go take a quote-unquote better job.
Especially if they can't get some of these guys that are like the prime candidates.
I would hope that schools have learned, like, you know what you're getting with Josh Heupel, and that is good offense, no defense, and, like, I'm not even sure it can get you to a playoff. And I think that holds true at Auburn. I think that holds true at Florida. I think that would hold true at LSU. If he would not fit in the Big Ten at Penn State, but it would hold true there. Look at USC. I mean, they hired Lincoln Riley, and they've gotten the exact same thing that he did in Oklahoma, and they can't get to the playoff. So I'm going to say out. I think he stays put, but he's a fascinating name that you brought up that could bail town.
If Heupel leaves on his own before December 15th, 2025, he would owe the university $8 million. If he leaves after December 15th of next year, it drops to $4 million. $8 million is not that much. Another team, I mean, we're seeing teams pay $50 million to fire their coach. They could sure as hell find $8 million to pay for Heupel to come coach their team. I still think he's going to be at Tennessee next year, but man, it feels like it's the same story with them every season. And I could say the same thing about a few teams. Miami, it feels like the same story every year. We're just watching the same story written in different ways, in different orders. Tennessee's a good team. I think Josh Heupel's a good coach. Feels like maybe there's a ceiling to what he can do at Tennessee right now. And if this is the ceiling at Tennessee, I think it's the ceiling for you anywhere. Not sure how you get a whole lot better. Tennessee has great resources, unbelievable fan base, 100,000 fans in the stands every week, good recruiting base. It's all there for you, but losing to Oklahoma's a rough one. That's a game you shouldn't lose at home, in my opinion. All right, Alex, what do you have for us today?
Guys, in or out, Jordan Binnington won't be on the Blues after the trade deadline.
Out.
Yeah, I would say out as well. You just don't see many goalies get moved at the trade deadline. When was the last big-name goalie that moved at the deadline? Because in the offseason we saw...
Or Markstrom was the offseason, wasn't he?
I think he was. Yep. He was offseason. Gibson was offseason, if I'm not mistaken. There's just not many big goalies that get moved at the deadline. For some reason...
Colorado did it that season where they traded, I think, for two new goalies in season.
Yeah, no, it was Kemper, the one they won the cup.
But I wouldn't call him a big name. He became a bigger name because he won the cup when he couldn't see. I would say out. If they moved Binnington, it would be something that they would do going into next offseason would be my prediction on that.
I want to say out on this as well, but if they're bad, if you want to talk about an asset that could bring you back the most, a desperate team for a goaltender, and especially if Binnington has a lot of success in the Olympics, if he is starting for them, like you don't think Edmonton doesn't have anything I think the Blues would want, but you don't think Edmonton would be desperate to get that? So he along with Shen and T-Bone brought up Pius Suter. Like, I can't believe we're having this conversation on November 3rd, but like you've got pieces. It's just not fixing the core problem of the Blues.
Well, it's funny because my in or out was kind of similar to kind of depressing. Guys, in or out, the Blues will trade Pius Suter and Braden Shen at this year's deadline.
Suter's a really interesting trade candidate.
He's got no trade protection at all.
Which is crazy to me.
And I think I saw...
How they saw... It's an unbelievable contract.
I think I saw Pagnotta. It was either Pagnotta or Johnston say over the weekend that, like, centers are a premium right now. Like, everybody wants one, and if you've got one, willing to pay.
If they are out of it, I'll say in. Both are gone.
Yeah.
This is the year that you can really cash in because of what Alex said. I mean, I remember in the offseason, we were talking about who the Blues were going to be able to acquire, and you'd go through the list of teams that need a number 2 center. Hell, it was the same thing last year at the trade deadline. It felt like 25 of the 32 teams needed a number 2 or number 3 center.
And there's like 3 on the market.
Yeah, there were none. And even the ones that you were talking about, it's like, are they a center or are they a wing? We're not really sure. Probably best as a wing, but can play center in a pinch. And then the Blues were able to get one of the top 2 to 3 best guys on the market. So if they're out of it, I'll say in.
They've got to be out of it, though. They've got to be. They've got to be.
How far back they got to be?
They've got to be one of the worst teams in the National Hockey League to do that at the deadline. Because if they're within striking distance, I can see them just saying, no, we're going to try and make a run again. November's going to tell you a lot about this team.
If they are, and I'm doing a hypothetical here, I get it, but if they are 7 points back, and I think that's what they are today, if they are 7 points back, are they sellers at the deadline?
I wish I knew what their standing situation was.
And I know
at
it
the
makes it
deadline last
difficult.
year.
Here, you could check it. Hold on, let me look at it.
Because I could make a case.
That would have been what, March?
It was mid-March.
It was like
wasn't it right after? Was it the LA Kings game?
Yeah, it was March 8th.
Parayko got hurt.
It was when
So
Parayko
March
got hurt.
8th, they were
in a
1
playoff
point
spot,
back.
right?
They were 31, 27, and 6.
They were 1 point. Calgary was at 70 points.
Yeah, if they're where they are today, got to cut the cord.
Yeah, let's see where they were. Where were they?
Kill the Blues.
Where were they in 22-23, right? Because that was when they traded all the assets out.
Yeah, and that was, remember, they
they were
started to make a run, and Army said,
Yeah.
I ain't falling for it.
They were 14
All right,
points
get out.
back.
Oh, dang.
They were 14
back?
points back, and
But
they
had already sold prior to. I think they won that game against New Jersey in February.
Oh, yeah.
Because
What
they
was-
were a game over 500. It was February 17th.
February 17th.
Because then they went on a losing streak right after they traded O'Reilly, if I remember correctly.
February 17th, they were 8 points back.
Okay, so that's about what I said. I think if you're not within 5, I think there'll be a strong case to pull the plug.
You've got to be within 2 or 3 wins to get in there.
I'd agree with that.
All right, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for in or out. You guys give us a scenario. We will tell you if we are in or out. In or out from the 636. Callie Rosen will start with him the next week.
Out.
Have we seen anything on if he's going to be
He's in the Thunderbirds.
here?
No, he's in the Thunderbirds.
He is for
yeah,
sure.
they signed him and they put him in the AHL. Sorry, that was a little Tony at you.
That was kinda Tony.
I wasn't getting Tony at you. I was
would
just because
expect
I've seen a lot of
BK to have that kind of
I was seeing a
response.
lot of people. I was Tony at the tweets that I've been getting of put Callie Rosen in the lineup. Callie Rosen to me was they did not trust Corey Schooneman to be in the NHL potentially for them if they have to use him. So they needed a little bit of insurance. He's the 8th defenseman on the depth chart. Right? Yeah, 8, because Mayu would be the 7th. So, no. If you see him, it's because multiple injuries have taken place for the Blues.
Before BK says in, I'm going to say out as well.
Before BK says in.
I think this was a depth move. I agree with Alex. And I think they're doing what they did with Bolduc last year with Mayu. Yeah, he's not in the lineup tonight. He is up in the press box continuing to learn. And I don't think he's been – I didn't get to see the full game Saturday.
He didn't play Saturday.
Well, then I didn't miss anything. He hasn't been that bad, in my opinion, over the last couple of games that he's been in the lineup. I think this is the Bolduc treatment. And I think you continue to put him in. You don't send him down to the AHL. I think if there is a call for Rosen to be up, it is because they don't trust Kessel at the NHL anymore still. He plays bad, and then they just swap those two. They don't swap him and Mayu.
Monty said earlier today that, that 6th defenseman being a revolving door isn't a product of the defenseman. It's a product of the top 4.
Okay.
I mean, you could say, okay, that's what the coach said.
Okay.
He's never lied before.
I don't believe him.
I mean,
they're
only playing 9 minutes.
I'll listen to your actions, not your words. You're playing them 9 minutes for a reason. You don't trust them.
Wow.
You don't trust your third pair defensively right now. And frankly, he shouldn't. He shouldn't
trust any of your pair defensively right now.
Well, he's trusting his top 4 to play 20-plus minutes a night every single night.
Which has been detrimental.
Maybe. But I think that tells you how much he lacks trust with his third pair, which is why I will say out. Not going to see it in the next week. At some point in the next few weeks, though, I think it's absolutely going to be a conversation. So I don't think you randomly make this move for no reason. All right, from the 314, guys, in or out, Steelers will make the playoffs this year. In.
I want to say out.
I said that. I said in pretty quickly.
I
there.
still think the Ravens win that division, and really, I was just going to say, really, you're asking if they're going to be one of the wild card teams, and I just think there's better teams in that position.
Patriots are making it. Bills are making it. Colts are making it. Broncos and Chiefs are making it. Somebody from the AFC North is making it, which means you have one more spot for another team in the AFC North. So whoever doesn't win it out of Pittsburgh or Baltimore, the Jaguars and the Chargers most likely. So really, we're talking about a Chargers, for me, Chargers versus second team in the AFC North conversation. And because of the Chargers' injuries, I think it's very much in play that the Steelers end up getting that spot. So I'll still say in. I said it a little quicker than I probably should have there without giving it enough thought. But I will say I will take the Steelers to make it over the Chargers this season because of the Chargers' injuries.
I was saying as well. I think the two teams that would fall out of this, because I'm still not sure if I'm convinced that Baltimore is winning that division over them, but I'll just go down the path that they do. They end up doing the thing that I'm not expecting. I think you see the Chargers and Jaguars fall out. Chiefs and Steelers would make up those last two wild card spots. So I'll say in.
He's T-Bone. That's Alex. I'm BK. Coming up next, the ACC and Big 12 made the college football playoff picture much more clear with what we saw over the weekend. We'll tell you what it means for both the Big 10 and the SEC next year on 101 ESPN. Football season is in full swing. We got Monday Night Football tonight, and that means I pulled up my Underdog app earlier today, Alex. I have a 40% profit boost over there,
buddy.
Which means I'm going to go ahead and put 3 different plays on the game for tonight for my entry. I saw there was some news. Marvin Harrison Jr.'s dad was in the news today. I think he's going to have a big game. So I'm going to have Marvin Harrison higher than 59.5 receiving yards. I've got Jacoby Brissett, who's basically the starter for the Cardinals now, higher than 200 253 passing yards because the Cowboys don't play defense. Jake Ferguson, Cowboys tight end, I think is going to get some mismatches. I've got him higher on his receiving yards. Put that all together, it's 6-1 odds over on the Underdog app.
And you get your entries right, you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. So download the Underdog app today. Sign up with promo code BKO to score $100 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code BKO. Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Blues will be back in action tonight as they will be taking on the Edmonton Oilers. Well, pregame coverage starting at 6:30 with Alex Ferrario and puck drop at 7:30 with Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale. And it looks like Robert Thomas will be returning to the lineup for the St. Louis Blues tonight. And the college basketball season tips off tonight. SLU will be taking on SEMO at home. Mizzou visits Howard, and Illinois will be taking on Jackson State. The Sports Center update was run by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Alex, you really couldn't have asked for a much better weekend if you're a Mizzou fan holding on to hope that they can make the college football playoff this year.
Yeah?
Georgia Tech lost to NC State. Miami lost to SMU. Cincinnati lost at Utah. And Houston, in what was a huge surprise to me, lost against West Virginia. The moral of the story is that the ACC and the Big 12 are almost certainly going to be one-bid leagues this season.
Turns out they weren't as good as we thought.
So what that means is that the group of five is going to get one, the Big 12 is going to get one, the ACC will get one. That's 3 teams in. Notre Dame is almost certainly going to make it to the college football playoff this year. I think they're a good team. Are they actually worthy of being in the CFP? I don't know, but they're going to get in. So that's 4. The Big 10 right now, it feels pretty clear. Tell me if you guys disagree with this. Indiana, Ohio State, Oregon, they're getting in.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Now we're up to 7. And the SEC, I think it seems pretty clear. A&M, Bama, Georgia, and Ole Miss will get in. You guys agree with that? Barring something unforeseen. You guys agree?
Yeah.
That's 11. That means there is 1 spot remaining. Now, it could have been that spot was taken up by an ACC or a Big 12 team prior to this weekend. That's now more or less off the table. So that spot is probably going to go to one of the following teams from either the Big 10 or the SEC. Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Missouri, yes, they're still technically alive, Michigan, Iowa, USC, or Washington. Now, T-Bone, your Illini could have had that spot that Washington currently maintains. Unfortunately, they lost head-to-head, got their butts whipped by Washington, and therefore Washington gets it, Illinois does not.
Yeah, look, let's just, you know what? Let's not put Mizzou in this conversation either. You got a true freshman quarterback who's going to get smoked at A&M. Okay.
Speaking of getting butts whipped, Illinois had that happen to them a lot this year.
Nah, just twice, really.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we won this weekend.
All 3 losses, honestly, weren't great.
Yeah.
Well, it was closer to Washington one.
Oh, yeah. What do closes mean?
Do you guys have a lean on who you think is most likely to come out of that group? Because I have no idea. Genuinely. Texas, OU, Vandy, Tennessee, Mizzou, Michigan, Iowa, USC, Washington. I know it's a lot of names. They're all basically the middle of the pack in the Big 10/SEC. Do you guys feel good about any of them right now?
No, you could have listed off all of those teams, and I've said, yeah, I can make an argument for all of them to make it. I think if I were to lean, probably Oklahoma. And mostly because strength of schedule, and you're talking SEC, but I mean, they're still a 2-loss team. So
Have you seen their schedule too? The rest of the way, they've got Bama coming up next weekend, and then Mizzou, and then LSU to finish things out. So they're probably going to lose that game to Bama, and if they do, they're done.
If they win 2, though, versus Mizzou and LSU, they're out of it with the 3 losses.
Yeah, any loss on their schedule the rest of the way, they're probably done. I don't think that you're getting in this year with 3 losses on your schedule.
Yeah. This is why I don't, because then if that's the case, then Tennessee's not even in this conversation with 3 losses. Mizzou would have to win out to put them in that conversation, which, I mean, they also have a difficult schedule. So I think you're talking Michigan or Iowa.
And I don't trust either of those teams.
So this is why it's like
Iowa's schedule the rest of the way.
Oregon this week.
Oregon this weekend, and then at USC. Then it eases up a little bit. Michigan State and Nebraska without their quarterback, but
so literally,
Michigan still got Ohio State on their schedule.
You either have to have one of these teams just go ballistic the rest of the way, or a 3-loss team is going to get in.
I got a team.
Give you who I think is going to get in potentially.
Are we thinking the same thing?
Who do you got? Go ahead.
Mine's Vandy, the Vanderbilt Commodores. Their schedule the rest of the way.
That's mine.
Versus Auburn, versus Kentucky. Should be wins, and then at Tennessee, and they can't stop anything.
I think Texas is they're the trendy pick. People saw them this weekend against Vanderbilt. They're like, Texas is in. They're back. They're going to be good to go.
And ours look awesome, to be fair.
No doubt. The offense looked really good. They did everything that Mizzou
Vandy?
couldn't. I think so, yes.
Don't ruin my point.
Guys, we can't sit all season long and be like, Texas is awful, and then the one good game they play against Vandy and be like, oh, well, Vandy's probably really good.
2 straight weeks. He also played well against Mississippi State, but I also think that tells you about Mississippi State. But next week, not this weekend because they're off, but Texas plays against Georgia next week on the road.
Yeah, but he ain't going to do the same thing against
And then they finish out the season against Texas A&M. I think there's a better chance they go 1-2 down the stretch than it is that they go 3-0, which is what would probably be required for them to get into the playoff. Vandy's schedule just makes it so that I think they're probably still going to end up getting in. And I don't know what their signature victory would be. I guess it's Mizzou.
Maybe, but who knows what they'll do over the next couple games.
No, I'm with you, but what's their second best win on their resume? LSU? At South Carolina?
Yeah.
They don't have that great of a resume this year. It's going to be a really interesting fight to see who that last team is in the playoff, if this is the direction that it ends up going.
Their schedule could be full of 4 teams that fire their coach by the end of the year.
Correct.
Tech already did. Who knows about Beamer at South Carolina? LSU did. Auburn just did. Ooh. Hard to sell it as that was like a big scheduled
I think
really propel you forward.
I think whatever team gets in is going to be like, that team really got in?
USC is going to be an interesting one. They've got Northwestern, Iowa, UCLA as 3 of their 4. They've got to pull off an upset against Oregon on the road. I don't think they can do it, but if that happens, then we're gonna start including these 3-loss teams. Eventually, it might be a spot where either we get back to the ACC and the Big 12 having a potential representative, or you have to open it up to 3-loss teams from one of those respective conferences.
Yeah, and I'd rather open it up to the 2-loss ACC school then. I'd rather open it up to whoever, maybe Louisville that's got a second loss or someone like that, rather than a 3-loss SEC school. Because I think these 3-loss SEC schools, if we're just being honest, and we're not putting they're in the SEC, look at how deep it is. I'm not sure how good the rest of the conference is as a whole.
Somebody mentioned, look at Iowa and their losses. So that's the team that I wanted to go with. I wanted to be like, hey, guys, we're not talking enough about Iowa. They're not even ranked in the top 25 this season. They are one of the 25 best teams. I do believe that. And they should be the team that you look at. Well, okay, sure. They've got Oregon this weekend. So that's probably your 3rd loss. If they win this weekend, now they are the team that I would put up in this conversation. But they've got Oregon this weekend, and then they travel on the road to USC, which is no guarantee. They finish out, they've got a nice schedule the rest of the way. But the next 2 games are tough, man. Their losses are good. It's a 3-point loss on the road at Iowa State, and they lost by 5 against Indiana. They're like the only team to give Indiana a real game all season long. Indiana, to me, right now, is the best team in the country. I've seen no team play better this season consistently than what Indiana has done. Their defense is amazing. They have an unbelievable running game. They beat the hell out of everybody that's on the other side.
Best team I saw in person this year.
They're unreal, dude. They're so good. And the only reason we're not looking at them as such is because it's Indiana. And they don't have the Georgia Bulldogs helmet. That's it. If you replaced their name and gave the exact same resume to Texas, Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, Penn State, one of these blue blood programs, they would be the #1 team in the country, and we'd be talking about them as one of the all-time great teams. Because they've done everything possible to suggest that's where they belong. but they're Indiana. So they're going to go undefeated this season. We'll get to the end of the year. They're going to be like third in the rankings.
And to that point, this is last year was the first time they ever started 9-0 in school program history, and now they've done it 2 years in a row under Kurt Signetti.
Kurt Signetti is unbelievable. That guy's a monster.
I wish he didn't sign the contract.
I know.
Extension.
Just to watch the chaos of the offseason of like, where is Kurt Signetti going to go?
I was talking with a buddy yesterday. I miss the divisions in the Big Ten because Illinois would still have a chance at the Big Ten title game. You know how many the teams that would have been on their side would basically be a fight between them and Iowa because everybody else was like Wisconsin, Purdue, Northwestern. Oh, I miss the divisions.
Can I ask you a quick Illinois thing?
Yeah.
Before we get to the juncture on
They're
the other
already
side.
out of it, buddy.
No, they're clearly out of it.
Yeah.
Are you allowing yourself to enjoy this,
No.
though? I mean, it might be one of the best seasons in program history.
No, basketball starts tonight. We're tipping off. You know, we're getting back
Are you
to our
being
bread and butter.
serious?
Yeah.
Did you watch the game on Saturday?
I only watched a little bit of the game on Saturday. You know why? Because Vandy was getting their teeth kicked in by Texas. Otherwise, I would have been watching Texas Vandy. It doesn't matter what they do anymore. Like, sure, it was 2 successful years with the playoff now. Like,
That's sad.
being
to me.
12 team. Oh,
Like that is really unfortunate that it. And you can watch it however you want. If you're a fan and that's the way that you do it, man, hey, more power to you. Illinois has a real shot to go 9-3 this season, which is one of the best seasons in program history. This is going to go down as one of the best 5-year stretches and one of the best back-to-back stretches that you've ever had as a program. Illinois is not exactly like a traditional powerhouse when it comes to college football. And for that to be viewed as like a disappointment or a failure, oof, I get it. I mean, you said coming into the season that's how you were going to treat it, and you have. I just think that sucks.
and I think
You should have fun and enjoy good football.
I'm not a fun guy, right? I'm a winning matters. And the reason, like, I find it even more, like, I just can't even, like, get myself psyched up for it because it's not like they, like, lost to Indiana and they were close and they held serve with Ohio State and then they had the loss to Washington, right? Everybody has one bad game of the year. They got smoked by 2 of those 3 teams. And I mean, I was in person for the Indiana game. That's why I said they're the best team I've seen in person this year because they did look awesome.
Mizzou season last year all over again. You just lived what Mizzou had last year, and we had such different reactions to it that it's very in line with how we both approach this.
Yeah, I was going to say, to be fair, I was very critical of Mizzou and said this season was a failure. I think this year's a failure. And now the basketball's tipping off and they're a team that has high hopes. I don't care about their final 3 games. And now, to be fair, their final 3 games are like really bad opponents. Like if they had Indiana coming up, like or
What's the line on
Oregon, I would say okay, maybe I would have some excitement towards that. Like okay, maybe you can get another top 25 win. I do think them winning out matters to an extent. It's just not an extent that I care about because I think it continues to bring good vibes to the program, which helps you in recruiting, retaining the guys that you have that are committed for 2026 and also in the transfer portal. But you're not going to get me to watch those games.
From the 618, as an Illinois fan, it's pretty wild how Tanner's take is actually pretty mainstream among this fan base. Perspective matters. Not being able to enjoy what is probably going to be a 9-3 team would sound absolutely insane if we had said that 4 years ago. I hear you. It's also the new reality in college football, for better or for worse. And I think there are cases to be made on both sides of things. I mean, a few years ago, a 9-3, probably 7, 8 years ago, a 9-3 season for Illinois and ending in, I don't know, the Orange Bowl, Citrus Bowl, Cotton Bowl, something like that. It's a hell of a year. And you look at it and you're like, man, that's awesome. Luke Altmaier was great this year. If they just had a couple more stops against Washington, they really could have done something here.
I go to like the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Yeah, and now you look at it and you're like, yeah, our season ended after that loss against Washington.
Yeah, we'll see you at the bowl.
So it's different, but you also had something to strive for that was different. That wouldn't have been attainable after that Indiana loss, 5 years ago. So it's a different world in college football, and I understand that. We just have different approaches to it. That's cool.
You don't like to have fun? He does.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. Coming up next, we're going to dive into the junk drawer here on 101 ESPN.
Alex Ferrario with you to talk about my friends out at Classic Air Care, company that has been making people comfortable since 1926. And I talk so highly of them because I've been using them since 2016 on our home that we had. Our first home had a really old unit, got us through the time that we lived there. And then the home that we purchased about 5 years ago, older unit then, made it last as long as possible. But then we finally had to go into a new HVAC system, which, by the way, they're incredible with the financing options and the work that they do on that. But the biggest thing that I want to tell you about is their maintenance agreement, because to maintain an older unit, you got to keep up with the shelf life of it, making sure that you're cleaning it, fine-tuning it, and that's the maintenance agreement over at Classic Air Care to extend the life of your HVAC system. Twice a year they come out, fall, spring, check the unit, clean it, fine-tune it, and it gets you through the upcoming seasons that you're going through. And if issues pop up, you get priority scheduling thanks to Classic Air Care. They've got 100 vans on the road. They're open 7 days a week. After our techs, they will get back to you, which to me is the most important thing. Incredible customer service. Call them today, schedule online. Just do me a favor and tell them Alex Ferrario sent you. Classic Air Care and classicaircare.com.
You guys been to the DMV lately?
Thankfully, no.
I feel like I'm about to do a comedy bit. So the DMV, huh?
Last year or 2 years ago, but anytime you say DMV, I get kind of the shivers.
The one comedy bit that actually holds up and is true about real life.
I've never had any real issues with the DMV.
Oh, you must be
All
going
of
to the
my
right
experiences
DMV.
have been mostly fine. I mean, it's not somewhere that I enjoy going. I don't look forward to my next experience where I'm like, hot damn, here we go.
I've been driving since 2016, and I've never once had a pleasant experience at the DMV.
So today I went there because, Alex, I'm like most of St. Louis. I let my tags expire on accident. Forgot to renew them.
Oh, way to go.
So I went in today, and my birthday is next weekend. My license is expiring, so I thought, you know what? 2 birds, 1 stone. Let's go ahead and get both of these done. I'll get my license renewed. I'll get my tags renewed. We'll be good to go. I'll be driving legally by the end of the day today.
All right, everybody that's listening, watch out for BK.
That's right. That's right. I'm back on the roads. However, it took much longer than anticipated, as you can probably imagine. It is the DMV.
The DMV?
So
in and out.
I'll try to make it as short of a story as possible for you.
Well, we're already late, so go for it.
Get in there. It's like 9 a.m. And I immediately get those tags done. I mean, 10, 15 minutes in, I'm like, piece of cake. This is going to be easy. I'm going to get in. I'll have time before Alex gets in today.
Whoa,
for our
shots
show.
fired. I was in at 9:30.
No, so I wouldn't have. Not a maybe. Get over to the license side of things. That's where things went sideways. Takes a little while, but then finally I get up there and lady asks me for all my information. I'm going right through it. Check. We're good to go. And you can tell she's a little frantic, but I think we're getting through this thing. She says, all right, I'm going to have you sit back down, and we'll finish this up here in just a minute. I'll pass you along to one of my coworkers. Great, no problem. Sounds awesome. Alex, I'm sitting there, and you know how I am. I'm never going to say anything to anybody. If I get the wrong food, I'll just eat that food. If I am waiting for somebody to call on me, I just wait. I don't make a scene. I don't say anything to anybody. I just wait. I'm sitting in the corner. You guys know what you're doing here.
I've heard you're a giver, not a taker.
That's right. So I'm waiting, and I'm finally checking my phone. I'm like, what the hell is going on? At this point, it's like... been here sitting for 40 minutes after I've talked to this lady. I can't leave because my plan was I'll wait as long as I can. If I need to get out of here, I'll just come in and I'll go back after the show if I need to get my license done at that point. Well, at this point, I'm like through most of the process. I just have to do a couple of things left. I don't even know what they are at this point in time other than take the picture and I'll be ready to go. I've got my license done. So I'm waiting. I finally have to text you guys. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be late.
Yeah, no, I love that text message where you acted as if like, oh, yeah, it'll be there soon.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So finally, the lady that was doing my license says, will somebody please help Brandon?
He's lying. BK actually just hid in the corner and he's like, will somebody help Brandon?
And at this point, despite my anxiety medicine, I can't help myself. I'm in the corner. Boy. It's been an hour. Anybody, please, anybody help me. I will take anybody that's available. So what had apparently happened, this lady got overwhelmed and didn't want to do my stuff anymore, Alex. So she took my file and just put it next to the lady that was next to her. Didn't say anything to the lady. Just assumed that she would take care of it. And so I wasn't in the system to be taken care of. So they just kept calling these other names. And as like the entire room has been cleared out. I'm just sitting here, just waiting for somebody to call my name.
Will somebody get the kid a Happy Meal?
And then the lady that had yelled, will somebody please help Brandon? She says, never mind, I'll take care of it. At the time, she still got this guy that's trying to get his like commercial license taken care of.
That guy was like, I'll be Brandon.
Yeah. And so she's still working with him. Meanwhile, the lady next to her gets done with her person that's getting his license. And I say, hey, can I just go with her, please? I just want to get this thing done. So I go over there and she says, hey, you're missing something. You need your address because it looks like we're correcting the address on here. And I think to myself, you've got to be bleeping kidding.
That's typically when I'll go home.
And Alex, somehow it got worse.
What?
Somehow that wasn't the worst moment. I haven't even told you guys the worst part.
I don't even know how it gets worse.
So I'm taking the picture, and there seems to be some kind of an issue. And I'm thinking to myself, like, lady,
couldn't fit it all in the picture.
This is the easy part. Like, we're done.
This is the part that should be fast.
All I have to do after this, we are home free. You take a picture. It doesn't even have to be good. I don't care what it looks like. And then I pay you. And I walk out the door. And she looks at me, Alex, and says,
we don't take cards.
Nope.
Cash only.
I know this is going to sound weird, but would you please smile less because it's saying that your eyes are closed?
Brother.
And I'm over here thinking to myself,
I didn't need to hear that one.
I have been waiting for an hour and a half. You have just wasted my time by printing out a piece of paper that you didn't need printed. You could have taken a screenshot of it and emailed it to all of these different things.
You didn't follow directions. You're supposed to bring it out in a hard copy.
Sure. I had something. They said it didn't work. Whatever. And she says to me, your eyes are too squinty. I would like you to please stop.
Now that I'm looking at the picture that I had to have of us, the old one when we first got together, you do kind of squint your eyes.
I do have squinty eyes. I understand.
So how'd you smile?
What I wanted to hear.
So how did you smile? Then show me how you smiled. Like
I did. I must have done the full thing. I was. She is over here. She knows I'm frustrated because she had apologized early on, and I was like, "Listen, it's not your fault. You did nothing wrong." But yeah, she's basically saying like, "Hey, your head's too small and your eyes are too squinty. We're gonna need to like stop smiling."
She didn't say like, "Hey, your nose is kind of getting in the way." I like this text from the 618. Will somebody please help Brandon? Glass breaks. Mike Schilt comes walking out. I've got it. Man.
So, yeah, that was my morning.
Now we have the nose, the Adam's apple, and you got two squinty of eyes when you smile.
Somebody said there's an app that you can download where you can just wait in line for you. I was able to stay at home for 2 hours before it was my turn. Yeah, I did that. The problem was not getting to my turn. The problem was once it got to my turn, the lady decided she didn't want to do mine anymore, and then she just set it off to the side.
And then insulted you at the end of it. God, I love it.
Yeah. So
Good
there's
stuff.
that. This is why you should say something to the people when you're sitting somewhere for 45 minutes.
This is why you should also try to say something to make someone smile every day rather than, insult them in their smile.
I mean, to be fair,
She's not wrong.
The computer wouldn't allow her to take the picture. It said his eyes are closed. You need to open your eyes.
I mean, it's great as if he did like this.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but my license picture, the last time I went, it was the scramble. I had to get there. I hadn't shaved. I was wearing a black T-shirt. I looked like I broke out of prison in my
sure.
picture.
And again, I don't care at all what my picture looks like. Just the idea that I had to...
Just open your eyes next time, Brandon. Open your eyes next time.
Coming up next... The Cardinals apparently have 6 of the top 35 trade candidates in Major League Baseball this offseason.
What an offseason.
They're going to be able to take advantage of that? We'll talk about it next year on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. So MLB Trade Rumors, I think, does really good work. I know that it's kind of this random website, but they do awesome work, Alex. And over the weekend, because the World Series is now done, offseason has officially begun, as you can tell by the name of the website, MLB Trade Rumors.
Oh.
They put out their top 40 trade candidates for this offseason. Among those top 40 trade candidates, Alex, were 6 different Cardinals.
Okay.
Now, the rankings on this list, they can be fungible, and they kind of do it based upon both the value of the player and also how much interest other teams have in them. And then there's the no trade protection that's factored in, the salaries, all of these different things. The Cardinals that were listed include, at number 3 among the top trade candidates for 2025's offseason, Brendan Donovan. They said trading Donovan both would net the Cardinals at least one prospect of note and also open up infield reps for younger and more controllable players. Quote, Donovan is a natural fit on virtually every contender in the league, end quote. Number 5, Sonny Gray. Number 27, JoJo Romero. Number 30, Nolan Gorman. Number 34, Nolan Arenado. And at number 35 on the list, Wilson Contreras. So Donnie, Sonny, JoJo, Gorman, Arenado, and Contreras all listed among the top 35 trade candidates in Major League Baseball this offseason.
Maybe they didn't rank them in a certain way. Why is Arenado ahead of Wilson Contreras?
So I can read you what they wrote about Nolan Arenado. Quote, he will still dominate the trade rumor this winter because he is such a big name. Unfortunately for the Cardinals, he's more of a name value than anything at this point. The 2025 version of Arenado wouldn't be an upgrade to any contender at third base, which makes any kind of a trade difficult given that he has full no trade protection and is likely to prioritize winning as he moves into his 30s. As a free agent, he'd probably be looking at a cheap one-year contract. The Cardinals are going to have to eat at least $20 million just to find a taker, possibly more similar to $30 million. Even if they paid the entirety of the contract, it is unlikely that Arenado would command much of a prospect this offseason. On Contreras, they said he's being paid close to market rate. If the Cardinals want to eke out some real prospect value, they'd need to pay a portion of his contract, but not much. If Contreras had taken a stronger stance on his willingness to accept a trade, he'd place much higher on the list. But as it is, it sounds like he's going to be selective about his destinations, which dims the chances a bit. Okay. So really, it's about likelihood more than it is about actual value.
Okay.
So like I said, there's a bunch of different factors here. There's salary, there's trade protection, there's value. There's a lot of different stuff that's kind of factored into what their rankings ultimately
I get
were.
that. And I mean, regardless, those two, like one of them you're certain is going to be gone. The other one, I doubt he's going to be moved. But focusing on Brendan Donovan, if that's the third best asset that could be available this offseason, you've got to trade him. And to sit there and say, well, he's a match for almost every single contender, cool. Then your pick of the litter. Find the prospect that gives you the most upside moving forward, whether it's pitching, whether it's a hitter, because frankly, you need both in terms of a star. Brendan Donovan could be the key to turning this team around quickly. But you got to make sure, one, you evaluate the player correctly, and two, you've got to pull the trigger on it. You can't sit there and be like, well, I don't know, Donovan's still such a good piece. You're in a rebuild. You need to go out there and get the best pieces available to you. You've got you quite possibly have the best asset you've had in a very long time to trade and actually gain a reasonable return.
If there is a silver lining to the way that the Cardinals have played their hand over the last year or two, it is this. They allowed for Chaim Bloom to have ultimate flexibility in his roster decisions. Now, some of it came back to bite them. They waited too long on Lars Nootbaar, right? They've waited too long, in my opinion, on Nolan Gorman. They've waited too long on many of these players the way that they did with Dylan Carlson or with Tyler O'Neill. And eventually, they just lose all of their trade value. But they do have real optionality this offseason to decide what they want to do, how they would like to build in future seasons, and to secure potentially the best return possible for a guy like Brendan Donovan, and he would definitely be at the top of that list. Alex, I do want to ask you about a few of these players that are on this list that are not Cardinals as potential trade candidates that the Cardinals could bring in. I'll start with the back of the list and then work my way up to the best
Always
ones.
the best way to go.
I think Edward Cabrera is a really interesting name for the Cardinals this offseason.
I 100% agree.
Starting pitching starting pitcher rather, for the Miami Marlins. He's 27 years old, doesn't have a ton of control remaining. This past season was once again very good for them. He's got good stuff. He's always been of interest to me. He's got legit swing and miss stuff as well. I don't know what the Marlins would want in return. I have no idea. My guess is probably something along the positional player side of things. Maybe Donnie could be a candidate for the Marlins. I don't know, but I think Edward Cabrera at 27, 28 years old is a really interesting option for the Cardinals this offseason.
I agree. I mean, he's got swing and miss stuff. He's younger. He's not probably the prime age that you'd hope for, which is, I think, more around 24, 25.
Sure.
But he's still got the swing and miss stuff. He's going to give you innings, and you're going for potential upside here. So I'm with you. I don't know if I would trade Donovan for that, because I think what I would hope for Donovan is a guy that's more in line with the window of Weatherholt, Doyle, Rodriguez, those types of players. But if I could take the tier down from Brendan Donovan, say a Alec Burleson or something like that, I would strike that.
Cabrera is under control through 2028. So you've got 26, 27, 28, 3 more years of control with the Miami Marlins, $3.5 million next year. T-Bone, is he somebody, we can do this quickly, but is he somebody that you would be of interest, have interest in?
Cabrera, yeah. I mean, the stuff's there. It's a matter of can you hone in the control issues that he's had in the past, but I mean, come on. I would bet on the stuff and then hope that I can figure out the control. It's the same issue. It's different because this guy's been in the big leagues. Same issue Alcantara had before they traded him, right? Alcantara, he couldn't find the strike zone. They traded him. Miami fixes it. Look at him now.
The next players that I wanted to hone in on are the Boston trio that could be of interest this offseason. Now, I think one of these players is only interesting to the Cardinals if they were to trade Wilson Contreras, and that is Tristan Casas.
Yeah.
He had a huge injury this year, has mostly been okay at the major league level. Not great, but okay. Kind of similar, honestly, bat-wise to Alec Burleson. It would be trading Burley's contact for more power potential, at least, with Tristan Casas. He's interesting to me. I don't know that I love it, but he's at least of interest, and he's got some Chaim Bloom history, so
Just
maybe.
a tough fit here.
Yeah, I would
if you move Contreras, sure.
Contreras and probably Burleson as well.
Yeah,
You probably have to move both of those guys. Maybe you're moving Contreras for maybe it is the trade that you were talking about, Alex.
Burleson
for Cabrera, and then you bring in Casas in a separate move.
I think I'm depth likewise of if you do that, part of me would rather have Ivan Herrera play first base.
Sure.
But I mean, I get it. You're going for power in terms of a younger player, so I totally understand it. But to me, he'd be low on that depth pool of what I'd want.
Other two guys that could be moved, according to this piece from the Boston Red Sox this offseason, Wilyer Abreu and Jarren Duran. I like both of them a lot. I think both would be interesting fits for the Cardinals. But I don't know, A, what Boston would want in return, and B, how they fit with what you already have here. Abreu is their right fielder. You're going with Abreu in right field and you're putting an end to the Jordan Walker conversation, because that's probably what you'd have to do there. I don't think that really makes a whole lot of sense. Duran, you could just start in center field if you wanted to next year. You could make that work, and that would be interesting to me. But I think it's a little harder to fit Wilyer Abreu, even though I really like him and I think he's a good player into your outfield.
Yeah. I would go Duran more than Abreu, even though Abreu's younger, but I don't know. In my mind, I'm thinking more of a younger player to line up with the guys in the window you're trying to build around with the Weatherholts, the Doyles, the Rodriguez. But I understand if you want to go down this path. And frankly, it's just a change of scenery and you get a different player and a different vibe in there.
All right, last one. Joe Ryan, second listed on this piece of the best trade candidates this offseason. He is under control for the next 2 seasons. This year is about $6 million for him. He's an awesome starting pitcher. 3.5 ERA each of the past 2 years. Went 170 innings this year. He strikes out 10 batters per 9 innings. There's almost nothing about his profile that's below what you would want. He went through that Minnesota Twins development system. He's great. He's a really, really good starter. He's probably a number 2, maybe a number 3 on a great rotation, but a 2 probably for a good contending rotation. I'd trade for him and extend him.
Yeah,
I think he's that good.
Leading the charge for your rotation moving forward. Oh, yeah.
I don't know what they're going to be looking for, though. And I don't know if you have the pieces that would make sense for the Minnesota Twins. I think you're probably talking Burleson plus prospects. Burleson's a JC and prospect, and maybe would be the kind of thing.
I think they're going to be very prospect oriented. I mean, they're in a full rebuild. I think your starting point's that Rodriguez kid that's in low A or high A as a catcher. And then if you've got other exciting pieces that are lower in the minor leagues, like pitching, they would want to take, I would think.
He's definitely a guy, though, that I would be targeting this offseason, if possible. I'm sure there's probably contenders, though, that look at it and say, yeah, we'll offer you more. The Dodgers, for example, the Phillies, who are losing a starter this offseason. I think those are the kinds of teams that maybe make a little bit more sense. But as I mentioned, 6 of the top 35 trade candidates, according to MLB Trade Rumors, are members of the St. Louis Cardinals. Should be a very interesting and busy offseason for Chaim Bloom. Coming up next, our football pick'em reveal here on 101 ESPN. This is the first week of the month of November's Pick'em Challenge. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. The full season rankings are not going particularly well for T-Bone or for me. We're well behind Alex Ferrario. He's pretty much safe for the end of season punishment, but we have started a new month, which means that he's no longer safe for this month's Pick'em Challenge. If you're new to this, we do it each and every Friday. We'll give you our 3 picks against the spread for that week. The only real rule is it has to be prior to Monday. It has to be against the spread. No props, no point totals, anything like that. Alex does 3. T-Bone does 3. Same thing for me. We're going to go this week with each of our 1-point plays, and then our 2-point plays, and then the 3-point play. We'll begin with Alex's 1-point play, which, as is typically the case, came in the NFL side of things.
1-point play for me. Only reason I'm putting it here is because it is a big spread, but I feel pretty comfortable with it. I'm taking the Rams minus 14. Saints are playing a rookie quarterback because they're sitting Spencer Rattler. Probably going to get traded a couple of players moving forward. That team's checked out, and the Rams get Puka back.
Stafford looking for Adams in the end zone. He's got it. Touchdown. His second today.
Well, that wasn't hard.
I should have made that my 3-point play. Even when I put it down there, I said if I put it at the 3-point, it's going to be the 14 spread that's going to kill me, so don't do it. Should have made it.
Yeah,
It's the one I was most confident in.
Never once was that in question.
No.
Just an absolute ass-kicking for the LA Rams.
More importantly, Survivor Pool, ladies and gentlemen, we've
Attaboy.
advanced.
Congratulations, buddy. I don't know why Alvin Kamara still wants to be there, but whatever.
Or
All right,
Olave.
T-Bone, your 1-point play, again, as is typically the case, came in the college football side of things.
And my 1-point play is a huge spread in college football.
Oh, that's okay.
And I'm going with old reliable, Mr. Kurt Cignetti, who I wish would leave this conference. But he signed his huge contract extension. They are on the road at Maryland. I think they cover 21.5 points is the spread. I'm going to take Indiana. I think they continue. It feels as if Cignetti always blows out opponents when they've got this huge spread, so I'm going to stick with it.
It's going to be Washington. And he dropped the ball. Scooped up by Indiana, going the other way. And diving to the end zone is Devon Boykin. Touchdown, Hoosiers.
Never a doubt in that one, boys.
It's
Never
the
a
best
doubt.
team in the country right there. Mm-hmm. That's what it looks like when the best team in the country goes up against a mediocre opponent.
Yeah.
And that's what we saw over the weekend.
Same could be said for your 1-point play.
Speaking of the best teams in the country going up against a mediocre opponent, my 1-point play.
I am picking with my heart as much as my mind on this one.
Bad
idea, dude. 3:00 slate on Sunday. I like the Chiefs to win straight up against the Buffalo Bills. I think they're the better team. Chiefs, though, win it by a touchdown, and that's enough to cover the spread. Chiefs minus 1.5.
And here we go. They rush 5. He backpedals. Somehow he gets it all the way down to the 5. And it's knocked down incomplete. And the Bills have won it.
I mean, it wasn't great. I said this earlier today. The Chiefs were outplayed, outcoached in every possible way. The Bills were the better team on Sunday. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. In the month of November, Buffalo Bills better than the Kansas City Chiefs. Month of January, I think it's going to be different. But on that day, on that field, I was wrong. Bills were the better football team. And what I feared was going to happen, Alex, is that they were going to catch that. Chiefs were going to win, but they were going to go for 2. And they would win by 1 point, and I still wouldn't cover the spread.
That would have been very nice. But, yeah.
That's why you don't bet
regular
too hard.
season champions, the Buffalo Bills. Unfortunately, postseason champions is the Chiefs, which is really what matters.
All right, so Alex hit his 1-point play. So did T-Bone. No surprise, I did not. Let's get to Alex's 2-point play.
Taking the Patriots minus 5.5 at home against the Falcons. Drake May and that defense will be able to just continue to make life miserable for Atlanta. So minus 5.5, I like that hook. I'm going with that as my 2-point play.
Penix on 4th down, looking for London. And did he bring it in? Yes! What a catch! Drake London with the hat trick.
That was all garbage time. You had the right side.
I can't believe he caught that. I really can't believe he caught that. I had that, and then he freaking makes that catch.
It's about time you lose.
I know it was a 1-point game.
Karma.
The
wasn't a
Patriots
1-point
clearly
game.
outplayed the Falcons. You had the right side. You picked the right team. It just didn't work for you this week.
That was karma catching up with me. So, yep, I get it.
All right. T-Bone's 2-point play. I decided to tail him on it.
My 2-point play is the Denver Broncos plus 1.5. The reason that I know that Alex was going to stay away from this is because he doesn't trust Bo Picks.
Nope.
And I'm not saying I don't trust him either. I just don't see how the Texans protect C.J. Stroud against this Broncos defense. I think it becomes a living nightmare for C.J. Stroud. They don't do anything offensively, and I think the Denver Broncos will be able to win this game outright.
I will also be taking the Denver Broncos as my 2-point play on the road
I
at the
stayed away from that
Texans.
one.
Denver Broncos plus the 2 points. I think they win this one outright. I think they're the better team.
For the Broncos. And the kick is good. And the 4th quarter magic remains for Denver.
Not sure if we were on the right side on that one or not.
That's another team that I'm
not
like
convinced we were.
That's the other team that's like they can't keep getting away with this.
I'm not. The Broncos are every bit as fraudulent as the Colts are.
Yeah.
Like they're a good defense, a pretty mediocre offense, and overall they're like a B- as a team. That could work. You can get to the playoffs that way. I don't think they will get to the playoffs that way, but nobody's going to believe in you, and nor should they. Any Broncos fans that are listening right now, if you want to talk about how Alex is mean to your boy Bo Picks, just watch the game on Sunday to see why.
Yeah.
Just like, again, this feels a lot like what Daniel Jones is doing. And not so much in terms of I don't trust it, but he's making these fourth quarter miracle comebacks, and I just don't buy into it as that is a legit threat.
And Daniel Jones has actually been good.
Yeah. Well,
Bo Nix is not.
Yeah,
Bo Nix has been mediocre.
Bo Picks has thrown an interception. It's just a matter of he's going on this incredible drive at the end of a football game.
I think this show has some explaining to do as a group, not as one, for what happened to the Colts this weekend.
Jones to throw it. Intercepted. It's picked off by Wilson. Jones. Ball gets knocked away. The ball was rolling around with one Steeler and one Colt in the area, and Pittsburgh has got it. Washington lined up off the line. Cut it to the outside. Warren takes it in. Touchdown, Pittsburgh.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this
I
situation.
did go with the Colts -3 as my 3-point play. Now, I know on paper it looks tough because they're in Pittsburgh, but Indy is just on a different level right now. I think the Steelers have been exposed in their last couple of weeks in terms of Aaron Rodgers not being able to handle a certain type of defense.
Are we all in love
God,
with this?
please. No! No!
He slowly turned and looked at me. I'm
I
with you.
assume you were on it, and
Yeah.
you guys know, I'm sure I'm taking the Colts -3. This is a gimme. The Colts are a 3-point favorite. I'm supposed to think that they're going to lose to the Steelers? Steelers haven't stopped a nosebleed this year. Like, of course they're going to end up getting this win. They're the better team. It's not even close. The Steelers stink.
I didn't even need the wrong buzzer. We know what happened.
I golfed with my dad on Saturday, and Sunday, and he listens to that segment, and he goes, "You're an idiot." And I go, "What?" He goes, "They offered you an out." And I go, "I know, but I was very confident in the Colts." He goes, "They offered you an out."
I mean, I only grabbed like 5 seconds of BK's rant. They can't stop a nosebleed.
I know.
This is a gimme. The line
should've
is
taken it.
wrong. How can they stop Daniel
See, somebody's
Jones?
gonna say, "Well, the BKO didn't work on the Broncos Texans." Yeah, he wasn't adamant about it like he was in that Colts Steelers one. When this man comes in and starts bashing the opponent on why his play is correct, it always goes poorly.
Yeah, that's true.
I can't stop nosebleed. Of course I'm taking it. A 3-point line? Are you kidding me?
It felt clear. It felt
Of course
obvious.
it did. It always does. I'm more ashamed with myself than anything, though, because I take that out.
By the way, that was our 3-point play.
Yeah.
All of us had the Colts as a 3-point play, and they lost outright, so it didn't work out.
I take that out.
And they didn't feel close.
I go up on that one. Oh, man. Yeah, you made Daniel Jones look inept in that game.
That one's
For the first time this year, he looks terrible.
Jonathan Taylor had 50 rushing yards, which is legit impossible for how he has played this
Not
season.
even 45.
Against the Pittsburgh defense that also hasn't been good against the run.
And again, the Steelers did nothing offensively in that game. They had 17 first downs. They had a total of 225 yards in the game, averaged fewer than 4 yards per play. Not per carry, per play overall. They were not good. And they had 6 takeaways, so it didn't matter. And they win by a touchdown.
Oh,
So,
man.
yeah, that's what we've got.
I'm proud of you, buddy. I'm proud of you for keeping your strength alive.
Thanks, man. This is what I'm here for. Coming up next, what are we expecting from the Blues as they put out this new look lineup tonight? Alex will tell you next year on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here, the Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Blues back in action tonight as they look to snap their 7-game losing streak as they host the Edmonton Oilers. Well, pregame coverage tonight starting at 6:30 with Alex Ferrario, then puck drop at 7:30 with Chris Carber and Joey Vitale. The Sports Center update was brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin Heating and Air Conditioning dealer.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. It looks like Robert Thomas will be back in the lineup for the Blues tonight.
Yeah!
The line combinations today at Morningscape: Booch with Thomas and Snuggie. Booch on that top line. Love to see it. Shin with Suter and Kyrou. Holloway with Dvorsky and Sonny. So Dvorsky sticks in the lineup and remains at center. I like that.
I would like to see him on the second line, but that's okay. That's just me.
Toropchenko with Bukestad and Joseph, which just means Nathan Walker will be potentially a healthy scratch tonight. Broberg with Parayko, Fowler with Falk, and Tucker with Kessel. Mayu, the extra. Binnington is in the starters net. It is 1:47. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Alex, what do you think of the lineup heading into tonight's game? Do you think that the changes will help them get a win against Edmonton?
I think Thomas's return will help them get closer to a win. I don't know what's going to happen because it's Edmonton. You like how I spun that?
Much closer to a win.
Yeah, just say they're going to lose. It's okay.
No, you get closer to a win. I don't know. I mean,
it's pretty cheap tonight.
Oh,
sweet.
I wonder why.
Can get in for like $15.
You can go watch McJesus.
Edmonton is also in their own issues. They're not playing Stuart Skinner, which might be a bad thing for the Blues. But look, do I like the lines? No. Do I get the lines? Absolutely. I don't think Walker deserves to come out of the lineup. He's one of the guys that every single night I know what he's bringing. And there's multiple guys in the lineup that I don't feel that same way with. But I get it. You can't sit any of your top players. You're getting Thomas back. Hopefully that drags a couple of your other top players into the fight. I think people are stuck on the 7-game losing streak, and rightfully so, because that's not fun to be in. But it does feel like they've made progress from where they've been in the first 5 losses versus these last 2. This last game, they haven't given up the high-danger chances like they were doing. They're generating offense. The problem for this team is the same problem all season long. They haven't played a 60-minute hockey game. Does a Robert Thomas coming back in help? Possibly, but
doesn't hurt.
Until I see the entire team ready to commit to that 60-minute effort, you're going to keep ending up on the wrong side of a win. So I like the changes because Thomas is back in. I love that they kept Dvorsky in. I think it's smart to have Shen on the wing because he provides that presence that Jake Neighbors has. To me, it does. I don't know because it's the big shoulder shrug emoji. I don't know what team is going to show up.
Could buy lower level seats, row F, $65 a piece. That includes your fees if you want to go on the secondary market right now.
Man, what a time to be alive in St. Louis sports, man.
If you want,
reminds me of the Cardinals.
Some reason for optimism.
In the Mizzou season.
The Oilers have only won in regulation once in their last 5 games, so it's not like you're going up against a juggernaut tonight. With how they've been playing so far this year.
Their fan base also has just been blasting Evan Bouchard. Now, Bouchard's putting up points, but, man, he is on the wrong side of goals going into his own net more times than not. So
-8 so far this year.
I mean, it's two teams that are in a really bad spot, but it's one team that has 2 icons in the game of hockey and another one that's still possibly searching for the guy that takes over a game.
You know how bad it is for Edmonton? Connor McDavid's a negative on the ice so far this year.
And how many points does he have?
He has 17 in the first 13 games.
When people say plus minus doesn't matter, that's when plus minus matters. When you've got 17 points and you're a minus,
man, that's hard to do.
That's very hard to do.
To be fair, it's because 8 of those 17 points have come on the power play.
Oh.
That's where most of his
what is he, a
minus? -2.
Oh, okay.
Or excuse me, -3.
-3 with 9 points at even strength. Mm-hmm. Okay. Still not great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean they've got their own issues. They've got goaltending issues. They have defensive issues. They don't have a problem scoring goals. They got a problem stopping goals, which part of the problem for the Blues.
Yeah, it's not great. All right, to finish out the show today, by the way, Blues back in action this evening. Alex will have pregame coverage starting at 6:30. You got a nice little late-night puck drop here in St. Louis. Daylight savings, you get a 7:30 puck drop. It's great.
I'd love somebody to explain to me why we're starting a game at 7:30 on a Monday night.
It's got to have something to do with TV, right?
No, it's not national. It's on FanDuel Sports Midwest. So I guess we're helping out the Edmonton time zone people, but honestly, who bleeping cares? You're on the road, suck it up. I got to deal with 9:30 puck drops in Vancouver. You could deal with a 7 o'clock puck drop.
Really, this is just about Alex going to sleep 30 minutes earlier.
Well, luckily it's only it's only like an 8-minute. It's that like 7:38 puck drop rather than most later games are like 7:47.
If you guys missed our full thoughts on this year's World Series, you can check that out on the podcast page after the show today. 101ESPN.com. The free 101 ESPN app is where you go to find it. That is all sponsored by
Shaver Door Company.
Basketball's back tonight. College hoops. Mizzou is in action. They're taking on Howard on the road.
Home, right? Oh,
on the road. They've chosen to go on the road to take on Howard.
Real quick, where's Howard at? What state?
New York.
Oh, I don't know the answer. I'm asking.
DC.
I was close. I knew it was out east. What, that doesn't count?
No.
New York and D.C. aren't that far away.
I think Mizzou's a tournament team this year. What their ceiling is, I'm not entirely sure. Genuinely curious to see what they look like. T-Bone, the Illini are going with their new formula of just getting international stars to play for their team. How are you feeling about the Illini going into the season?
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they look like because they are bringing guys that have played pro ball overseas. And the thing I'm most interested to see, they've got the Isovich brothers that are there. They had one last year, and they brought in the one from Arkansas. I'm curious to know if they decide to put both of them on the floor at the same time, because that would make me worry about their spacing. But I'm excited to see what they look like. They lost some real talent last year from the draft with their 2 first-round picks. I think they replaced it. I think they're a tournament team.
Alex, how long before T-Bone says their names correctly? Full season, half the season?
He didn't say it correctly all last year.
I swear,
and he just said it wrong this year.
No, there's no S before the V. It's a Ivasic.
Ivasic.
Are
you sure?
Yeah, he'll remember that tomorrow when we talk about their big win.
The Illini are on the Big Ten Network.
See?
Mizzou is on ESPN Plus.
That'll be better.
The NFL side of things, it is the Cowboys versus the Cardinals. I've got the Cowboys in this one. I do think it's going to be a relatively high-scoring game.
Oh, I don't.
No,
I don't think the Cardinals can put up points.
The Cowboys have maybe the worst defense in the NFL.
Yeah, that's why I think they might put up points.
Boy, if they do.
Also, they have their better quarterback in tonight.
Kyler?
Yeah. No, Jacoby.
And it sounds like Kyler is like healthy enough to play, and they're choosing not to play.
Good thing they locked up Kyler to that contract. You know, got him to sign that waiver that says I won't play Call of Duty. I'll prep.
And it turns out even that couldn't help him.
I would be pretty surprised if he's their starter going into next year.
Agreed. I got Cowboys.
Good luck getting out of that.
35-28 tonight.
I've got the Cowboys 31-24.
Cowboys win, they cover. I don't really care as long as CeeDee Lamb goes off, because then T-Bone's fantasy team loses.
You're gonna beat me no matter what. Who cares?
To 155, your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. If you guys missed anything, again, check it out on the podcast page, 101ESPN.com, the free 101 ESPN app. We gave our thoughts on the Blues to open up the show. Alex was negative for the first time in, like, I don't know, forever. We gave our thoughts on the Dodgers for at least one night, making baseball the best version of itself. We also talked a little bit about, yes, my Chiefs lost yesterday, and they got beaten every possible way. Gave our full thoughts on that and how the college football playoff, the picture looks a little bit more clear right now. But who's going to get that last spot? That's really what the next few weeks are going to be all about. All of those thoughts and so much more can be found over on the podcast page after the show today. You can always check it out on YouTube as well, youtube.com/101ESPNSTL. For Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. We'll break down tonight's Blues game for you tomorrow at 11 a.m. The Fast Lane's coming up next here on 101 ESPN.
Will somebody please help Brandon?